Hey, how are you doing? How is everything going? It is Sunday, January 29th, so if you're watching on YouTube, you can go ahead and find the timestamps in the description, and those will be there for you for whatever readings you are drawn to or that are for you. And otherwise, well, we're just going to wait for people to show up live here. So, how's it going, everybody that's showing up? Happy morning, though it might not be morning where you are at, I'm realizing, because if you're anywhere, if you're anywhere too far to the east, then it's probably afternoon for you. I'm doing well. I didn't sleep super well last night, but I'm here, so we are gonna give it a go and see what happens. But I am glad to be here. How are you guys doing? How's life in the world? The big wide world out there. Hey, Jessica Jensen, great to see you. Fairy Goddess Mother, it's a great username, I think. You're welcome, Mylin. It is an honor to be here. I always appreciate being here, for sure. So now I'm getting notifications from TikTok while I'm live, and that is interesting. And thank you so much for the likes and everyone who just taps the... I'm not trying to encourage you to tap the screen. I'm just saying I really appreciate when you tap the screen. Hey, Sean, good to see ya. You've been on my mind recently for some reason, or at least the past 12 hours. So I guess I'm not surprised you're here, but had a life-changing massage yesterday. Congratulations. That's fantastic. I am glad to hear it. If I lived anywhere near you, I'd be like, yo, give me their number or something. Though I do know some pretty good massage therapists around me too, so I guess I can't complain. Hey, Andy Pandy Pie, great to see you. Mini V, great to see you. I know I saw some other people I didn't greet, but hi. So glad to see you here today. I hope you're doing great. We're just chit-chatting before we get started on the readings here today, you could say. We'll just do a collective soon is what I'm getting here, and we might be... I don't always pull cards for readings, but we might pull cards for that one, because they... when I was sitting with the readings beforehand, I channeled... Of course, I usually channel through the messages ahead of time, and then when it came... They didn't have me start with the collective, they had me start with the signs, and then when I went to do the collective, they're like, no collective. So I think we're still doing a collective today. I think it's just they didn't want me to prep ahead of time for it so I could focus on the other readings. That's what I'm hearing. So likewise, I wanted to book a reading. Are you not doing private readings anymore? I am doing them for now. They're saying no further comment. So I guess we will see. I don't have any further comments according to them on the matter right now. I am trying to evolve my business right now, and that is all I'll say. But I definitely have people who bought gift cards or things that I definitely will do my best to honor. So I'm not sure I'm done yet with that. Yeah, calendar isn't open. Okay, I need to open up some more days then probably. Just for the next month and in February, and then we'll go from there. Leanne Hill, I'm doing pretty well overall. I'm doing well. Totally get it. Yeah, thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. But I'll open it up. I feel like I need to, or I don't know if I need to, but it'd be good to. But I think I've been needing to take a step back a little bit in certain ways. Not anymore, probably, but maybe over the past month or two, for whatever reason. And but I think I'm feeling more ready to go, which is good. I bought your book. It was a lovely experience. That's awesome. Thanks so much for letting me know. Official Floral Roses. I'm really glad it was a good experience for you. That means a lot, and that's always part of the intention. And of course, my intention is it's always for the highest good, whatever's for the highest good. Happy Sunday, Catto Lady, if I'm saying that right. Okay, so we're going to start the reading soon. So the collective reading right now, I guess. So this is just meant to be for, I don't know if the sign will stick up. This is meant to be for everyone who's here. We're just going to jump into the collective reading, see what channel messages come through for everybody here today. And just kind of, yeah, we'll see what they want. What would be for your highest good? We'll pull some cards maybe. And so let me see where they'd like to start out today for if that's good. So it's interesting because this showed up for one of the signs as well, but it's showing up for the collective reading, and it's Zeus, the Greek god Zeus. Yeah, that's a Greek god. And what they're showing me is lightning strikes of clarity. We are kind of in this up-leveling period for everyone in a lot of ways. And that can look a number of different ways. That can look like certain things being demolished to make room for better, or certain things, they're showing me like a dilapidated shack and it gets like steamrolled by a bulldozer or something, or removed in a healthy way. That's not too devastating, by the way. I think sometimes we get attached to the metaphorical worn down shacks in our life just because we're used to them being there, but sometimes they need to go. Maybe not all of them, but you know what I'm saying. And of course, it's just making room for what needs to come in is kind of what they're talking about. So it can show up like certain things being demolished for those that better to come in. I suppose you could say that up leveling to come in. For others of you, the foundation is already laid and it's just time to build, whether you need to put the work in or you need to lay back and receive, or both. Maybe you need to open and receive or lay back and receive. But okay, sorry, I didn't say that right. Maybe you need to open, receive, and put in the work, or some combination, or it could be all three, going on. But a lot really wants to up level is what I'm hearing. And our job right now, I'm getting, is to go with the flow with that and either build and put in the work, or allow certain things to leave, or do some spring cleaning. I know it's the middle of winter right now, for at least where I'm at, but metaphorically do some spring cleaning to open up the space for that is something I'm getting as well. So those things can up level. The other words I'm hearing are life wants to improve. And sometimes we hold that back, and I'm not trying to put this on anyone, but what I'm hearing is sometimes we hold that back because we are comfortable, or to try to stay comfortable. But sometimes, and not always, but sometimes it's uncomfortable to stay comfortable for too long, or to try to control things to keep things comfortable, or sometimes it becomes uncomfortable when we try to keep things comfortable by trying to restrict things. You kind of get where I'm going with it. Well, maybe you don't, but hopefully you do. We'll get there. So in some ways, our job right now is also to, again, we're going to be in different places a little bit with some of this, but what I'm hearing is like open to a certain amount of a healthy dose of uncomfortability here and there, to allow the expansion and the improvements. And that's kind of where they were talking about the dilapidated shacks being removed. And again, sometimes we get attached to the weirdest things, sometimes the example I'm hearing is like our abusive boss or something like that. Like we get attached to weird things like that. And then like, eventually we're like, in the future, we're like, never mind, that sucked. And so I don't know, maybe be mindful of that, or be aware of that, and see what you're willing to let go right now. And I don't know if this is the perfect sentence, but life wants to improve. And right now it's a good idea to open up to a certain amount, or a healthy dose of uncomfortability, to allow that to happen, or just be aware of that. And if things do get comfortable, just kind of ask like, okay, how is this improving things, or where is this leading things? And could this be the improvement I've been asking for, or desiring, just showing up in a way where I have to go through this transition or something like that? I don't know if I said that perfectly. They want me to backtrack a little bit, so give me 1 second here. Okay, but here's what they want me to say. Just know life is going to improve. Let's move on. Just a couple more messages here. They're showing me a diamond next, like a diamond light, but it also looks like orange for a second, the diamonds. So give me 1 second to get the message for you guys here. So I feel like I've brought through this message, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but there is just a lot more light birthing on the planet in all of you. And sometimes you are the forebearers of that, or the people who have to birth it, again, even if it's uncomfortable or you're just a little bit or a lot of bit different than the people around you, or you have to be the first one to take things in a different direction in order to birth that light. But what I'm hearing, you're going to birth that light and probably take things in a new direction is something I'm getting. Okay, here's what I'm hearing as well. Like, there's so much light that wants to birth through you for the highest good. You just have to be open to it. And one thing I'm hearing for at least some of you is be willing for life to take things in a different direction in order for that to happen, or be willing for your life to look well, what's the best thing to say here? For some of you, be willing to let your life look a little bit different than you thought it would in order for the light to birth fully. But I feel like it's also going to be better than you think it will be as well, if that's you. And I feel like there's like a crux of this message I haven't got to yet, but there's light that wants to birth through you. What's the crux here? Aside from things being a little bit different. I think they want you to be aware of that. So like when things change, and these messages might be a little bit intertwined here, these past couple, but when things change, you're not just totally disconcerted. It's more just like, oh, it's just like opening space for the light to birth through me, or, oh, this is the light I'm supposed to birth through me, this thing I'm creating, or this thing, direction I'm being asked to go, or something like that is something I'm getting as well. So we're going to pull one card next. Actually, I want to pull the top card here, right here. Okay, so Our Lady of Great Power coming out here, and that reminds me, I always like to switch this up so that the, I messed up. Sorry, guys. You got to see my slight messiness over there on the other side of the room. Okay. So Our Lady of Great Power is the card that came out here. And like, this is the light that wants to birth through you, actually. And in some ways, it's your own power. It's in some ways, it's who you came here to be. It's like you all came here to bring light, whether you think you did or didn't. That's like part of your mission. And that can show up in a myriad of different ways. It doesn't all have to look the same way. It doesn't have to look the same as, you know, the example that's showing up to me is like, for some reason they're using Lee Harris as the example, who's like a channeler, or me, or it doesn't have to look like, you know, someone sitting in a chair channeling. It doesn't have to look like someone who started this thing over here, or did this business, or owns this metaphysical shop, or whatever. It can look your own way and be the way you're guided to do it. And it can be similar. We don't have to limit it or force it to look different in any certain way. As long as you're birthing light into the world and you're in the perfect position is something I'm hearing, interestingly enough. Whether that looks like what you expected to or not, but that's like what you're being called to do and what your next step is in some way, whether it's making space for that or birthing something that will bring lights, yada, yada, you get it. But you have for the highest good, great power birthing through you, and it's from source. And another thing I'm hearing is like you all came here to express yourself in some way and express light and birth it that way as well. Or maybe this is more specific for some of you who maybe didn't resonate with the first part or weren't sure about it. And so expression is really important right now, especially like, and I know not all of you are in this place where you're like ready to go with this, but some of you are like channeled expression or intuitive expression. And if you're not there, that's fine. Like even just expressing your emotions or getting certain things out of you, that's going to help move energies and heal you. So I would be creating. If you're not sure what that is for you, don't worry. I mean, you're creating your life every day in certain ways, but it could look like an attempt at poetry or doodling or something very simple. It doesn't have to be like going and painting the Mona Lisa tomorrow if you've never picked up a paintbrush or you haven't picked up a paintbrush since 3rd grade or whatever, if that makes sense. But this is about the great power and the light that's birthing through, well, the great power that's birthing through all of us right now, collectively and individually, and you're a part of that is something I'm getting as well. I feel like I'm spinning in circles a little bit, but hopefully that made sense and was helpful. So what else would be highest must to bring through for you right now? What else do we need to pull here? Cool. We have Queen of Cups coming out here. I'm getting emotional stability with this card. for everybody here. They're also showing there's this one cup on the Queen of Cups card in this deck, and they're showing this cup filling. Give me 1 second here. And there's also this, it looks like the moon on this card, which kind of makes sense like with emotions and all that. So we're going to stay with the message just a second longer and see what they want to say. Fully, if that's good for you guys here. What would be highest and best for to come through for this card? There is emotional stability rising, which is good, especially if they're showing like the waterworks, like someone crying. If that's been going, I feel like that's healing. For some of you, this is also about your third eye and your intuitive vision, and that's sparking awake really quickly. And you've been going through an emotional purge to open that up is something I'm hearing, some of you. And not that that's always necessary for that to happen, by the way. It just could have been like the process some of you were in. But for you and for others, like your intuitive vision is awakening, like and I know that's not the traditional meaning of Queen of Cups, so it's just what's channeling through right now as I'm looking at this card. You're just going to be, we kind of started this reading with like lightning bolts of clarity. And I do feel like you're going to be seeing a lot more clearly here in the next couple months. Like there's a lot shifting collectively to allow you to see clearly is something I'm getting. And I use that word a little bit interchangeably when it comes to like collective, this collective I'm doing the reading for, and collective, the like world collective. So bear with me a little bit here. So what else needs to go? What else is going on here with this card? Fully for that's good. Pretty much the main messages are like you have emotional stability coming in and your intuition is awakening. There's one more thing here. I also just feel like you guys are stepping up in your life, and they're showing the Queen of Cups or a figure representing that stepping up to a baseball, like the plate in baseball, which is kind of funny. So what's up with the stepping up here? I feel like there might be a lot of things you need to step up to the plate. Aside from that, there's a lot of things you need to step up to the plate for in life. And if you do that, you're going to succeed is something I'm getting. And we're going to start to wrap up the collective reading here in a second. We're pulling one more Mother Mary card, Our Lady of the Abundant Garden. And Our Lady of Growth Assured is right after that. So the words I heard with this card are this is what you need, interestingly enough. So I want to sit with that message for a second and then see what else they want to bring through regarding it. Fully if that's good here. One, and you'll hopefully know who you are. Like some of you need peace. Like some of you just need to go outside and like sit and just kind of calm yourself and collect yourself about life. And then the clarity strikes. So I would really consider getting out in nature as one thing I'm getting with this card first and foremost. For those of you and some of you who feel like your emotions are just overwhelming you in general, that's going to be very healing and calming, and you'll get a lot of clarity. For others of you, there is abundance coming in that you need in the near future, and be a little bit patient with that message. I don't know if I'd expect it all at once. There's like another additional message, like if you're working towards abundance, you're going to have it, which is good. But anything else on that? Fully, that's good. I'm also hearing the sentence like, and this is for all of you, like you're being granted abundance this year, something I'm getting, especially in an area that's been lacking abundance. So for some of you, it could be friendship. For others of you, it could be money. But for all of you, it's like something important to you. Otherwise, it wouldn't be abundance, right? Abundance, I want to say this right, because I want to make sure I'm just speaking the truth and what's helpful for you. But usually abundance pertains to something that is actually abundant to us, regardless of whether it's abundant to anyone else. And sure, I'm sure there's oftentimes like a crossover in that definition or our own personal what is abundance to us and what is abundance to another, but not always. Some people, abundance is, a cottage. I always forget which one's creepy. Is it cabin in the woods or cottage in the woods? And I think it's cottage is the one that's not creepy, but cabin in the woods is the one people like think of creepy things. So cottage in the woods, or for some people, it's living in a ski resort. For other people, it's a mansion in California. For others, doesn't matter if they're living in a hut or a mansion. It's like the relationships they have and the connection to spirit. And for some people, it's it's all of it. The mention, it's the connection, it's, you know, it's whatever. And none of those is less or greater than another. Like, we're all wired differently, of course. So whatever is abundance to you, at least part of that is coming. And I feel like there's more messages because there's grapes on this card, and they're honing in on, or there were grapes on this card somewhere. Yeah, there's like a little grapevine. It's like hidden, but I think it's like her earring. It almost looks like, if you can even see it on the camera. And what's up with the grapes here? There's been this message of rewards for past efforts. Well, and that's what they're bringing through here as well. But for those of you who've been putting in the work, abundance is coming. It's something I'm getting with that one. The next thing they're showing me are blue skies, and this is still the collective reading. So what's up with the blue skies here? It's really interesting because this visual, and don't freak out, we're just going on the visual. I'm just letting it play out. There's like a crack in the blue sky, and it almost looks like a piece of paper. Like, you know, like scenery. There's like a few things I could think of. There's like music videos, and they're kind of more creative, and like the backdrops look like they're made out of like paper or something, and it's like this stop motion paper thing. Or, you know, certain times like plays or like video games that are like based off of like a play setting, there's like a set and there's like a sky, and it's like, but it's almost like it's made out of paper. It can like rip in half or something like that. And so they're kind of showing something similar to that. Like, there's the blue sky, and then it kind of like tears in half and like falls over, and there's just it almost looks like a void, and it's not bad. Like, I don't want to say it's darkness. So what's going on here? But it's almost like a bit more, and it's not in a bad way, like nothingness here. So give me 1 second here. I think sometimes we have this thing where we have this story or this idea that this thing is good, but it's, and bear with me as I explain this, but it's like fake, if that makes sense. It's kind of like if you were having like a tea party with your niece or something. I know not all of you have nieces, and you're probably all sorts of different ages tuning in here, but pretend you have a niece and you're having a tea party with your niece, and you're kind of in this pretend land where you're like a business lawyer and highly successful or something. Like, it's not really real. And sometimes that illusion just gets a little bit shattered, and you're like, hey, what gives? And it was like, because it's like there's this, it's nice, it's good, but it's like fake, and then it falls apart and it's replaced by like nothingness. And you're like, hey, what gives? But this like nothingness or this void space is a place from which you can create and like create a life that you actually desire, instead of like a pretend life or pretending you have certain things, if that makes sense. So if anything falls apart that's fake, it's like, it's really providing you the chance to create something real, is something I'm getting. I also just feel like you're getting gifted a chance to create something beyond what you dreamed, like all of you in some way, shape, or form. Like, even if it's just like a little space that opens up that's like, hey, here's this empty space. What would you like to create? Or it's like this fake thing falls apart and you're like, hey, what would you like to create in this place, or something like that. So I feel like in some ways, like there's certain, what they're saying is like the illusion's being shattered, but what would you like to create? It's almost like a gift in a weird way, and you're not like losing anything real, by the way. It doesn't. What do they want to say here? It's not like a huge loss. Like, the words I hear are like, oh, that sucks, if that makes sense. And hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And I'm feeling like maybe it doesn't for some of you, so I apologize. But if anything plays out like that, just make the most of it, is something I'd say. So we're going to close the collective reading there. I hope that helped and made sense. That felt a little bit, it didn't feel bad, but maybe it's a little bit different than it normally goes. And, whoop, our friend already. That's fine. We're going to move to the fire signs after I drink a sip of coffee. And water here. It's like a mug city over here. Oop. So I'm going to take like 1 second, then we'll jump to the fire signs. It made sense? Perfect. Thank you guys for letting me know. Hey, Leo Diaz. Good to see you. Okay, so give me 1 second here. So fire signs, sun, moon, and rising. We are swan diving into your reading, and I have some channel messages that came through ahead of time, and my spirit guides, the angels, and source will bring through any additional information that's for your highest good as I go through these. So the first thing they want me to get to, interestingly enough, and they had me point at this tiger's eye because I caught it caught my eye. They pointed my eyes to it, or something akin to that, and I was kind of getting like, oh, there's a message with that, and then I was gonna not start with it, but then they're like, no, start with it. So we're starting helping out. I appreciate you guys. You guys make my life easier and help out, and I'm wishing you whatever would be for your highest good, but so many blessings of abundance, and all of you actually, blessings of abundance. But anyways, well, that's one of the things Tiger Eye can represent, is abundance and prosperity and good luck. But they started out with grounding first and foremost. I'm just getting you guys need grounding, especially if you've been through any type of transformative experience recently or energetic experience. I feel like it's going to help you guys to ground every day, at the end of the day or at the beginning, or both, or maybe for some of you 3 times a day, like morning, noon, night, or whatever your sleep schedule is or circadian rhythm is at right now. I feel like that's a good crystal for you guys right now. You know, there's like a lot flying around in the collective energetically, and Tiger's Eye can be like divine protection in some ways, and it just couldn't hurt is something I'm getting. And if that's not your framework, and the other properties will be helpful is something I'm getting. You know, grounding, divine protection, prosperity. So it could be a good crystal right now, or a good bracelet, or something like that is something I'm getting. Anything else with that? Tiger spirit animal is also showing up with Tiger's Eye. For whatever reason, the words tiger spirit animal has right now are good job is what I'm hearing. And that's for you. Whether it's a transformation you're going through or have gone through, or it's a change you're trying to make, or you're just being brave in your life in general right now with the changes you're going through, or any like tumultuousness. One, I feel like any tumultuousness is really temporary, like it'll settle down soon. But tiger spirit animal is saying for a lot of you, like, you're doing great, or keep being brave, and like keep up the good work is something. I feel like he's also helping you with divine protection. He's just saying like nothing's getting near you to tank you or your life. And like if anything does like tank in your life, that's like divine protection in some way. They want me to tell a story of yore. And a couple of years ago, there was well, what would be highest for me to say here? One time there was like someone I wanted to date, and it was kind of a weird mix, because it seemed like I was getting the go ahead in certain ways from the universe, but it also seemed like I wasn't. And it just kind of like ended really abruptly, and the person just kind of like moved and like disappeared, and I was like, oh, bummer. And I got a reading, and the reading from this person, who they're really good. They were like, you know, the way they saw it was, well, in short, if I were to just get to the point here, they're saying like, you know, if anything just like abruptly like ended or like stopped, it was actually divine protection from like something that would have been like bad for you or something. So in some ways it's kind of like a thank you, universe. I want to say, for some reason, the words that show me like thank you, Jesus, is like someone they were showing me. But it was like a thank you, universe moment, even if it kind of like hurt or like sucked in the moment, or was like a what gives. It was actually divine protection. And you know, hindsight is 2020. I'd like to manifest that foresight is 2022, and that like current sight is 2020. I'd like to manifest that it's all 2020 or better. How about it's like infinite 20, and we're all just seeing clearly all the time? What would it take for that to show up? That or better? But anyways, it's kind of like that, is, you know, like if something tanks in your life, it's like divine protection. It's not like you messed up, you know. And, you know, sometimes if that happens, it is because you messed up, but not this time is something I'm getting. So that's good. So there's like more with Tiger's Eye. Like we didn't finish the Tiger's Eye thing. So what else is going on with Tiger Eye? Fully, if that's good for you guys. I do get a message that there is stability coming in as well, which was like a recent reading. Okay, sorry, don't want me to say it. What would you like me to say? Fully, if that's good here. So just know there is stability coming in. For some reason, this is going to be for like a few of you who this pertains to. It's regarding business or a job. Maybe some of you feel like, well, not maybe, some of you feel like you lack stability or feel like things have been rocky, but that's coming in really quickly. And maybe that's a crystal that could help bring that in, is something I'm getting. So we're going to move to the next message here. They showed me and they've been liking this symbol They want me to stop saying that, like, oh, they've been liking this recently. I'm so sorry, guys. UFO is the symbol they gave me for this reading. And so, interestingly enough, this is about an upgrade to your sight. And like, you're going to be seeing, didn't we just cover this? You're going to be seeing very clearly this lifetime and in general soon. So it's almost like a fog is lifting. There's also like a quick message of like, it's kind of a side message, but keep trucking. And if you keep trucking, you succeed. For a little bit of backdrop information to understand the keep trucking, that would come through in readings for people where it wasn't always they were going through something exceedingly difficult or like awful or extreme, but it was kind of just they were in this time period where they just need to keep trucking. Like if you're a truck driver, you're driving, like you just need to keep going on the journey. You need to keep going. That's kind of what that means. Whether it's rough or it's easy or in between or somewhere else that's off that spectrum. It's like if you keep trucking, you succeed. So I would keep trucking right now. And you're going to be seeing clearly, which is good. They did like sneak in a message, and it's a message that channels through when I channel for myself, it channels through a lot. So they like to sneak it in from time to time, but they just said like all is well or will be well. And they're almost modifying it to all is well and or will be well in the future. For those of you who hear all is well and you're like, what about tomorrow? It's like, yes, all will be. Yes, that's part of the all is well, hopefully. And if it's not, it will be after that is something I'm hearing. But they're just kind of sneaking in this like all is well message, all will be well, or all will be well message. So it's kind of like you don't need to worry. And if you feel like you need to worry, it's okay. But I just feel like things are better than you think. In the next message, they showed an elephant. An elephant is our good friend in these readings. He shows up a lot sometimes, but this one's about obstacle removal. There are a lot of big obstacles being removed for you, so just hang in there. That's kind of like the keep trucking, hang in there. Slightly different, but anything else about this that's important for us to get to besides that? Fully for that is good. I feel like some of you are just worried that certain obstacles will never lift. And they will. It's pretty much what I'm getting. Some of you have to be patient, like give it a month. Keep putting effort in, keep grinding, I guess you could say. For others of you, it is just going to lift tomorrow or in a big way really soon here. So, but one way or another, an obstacle will lift, especially like a big obstacle is what they're highlighting with this reading as well. So the next message, I know we just covered this in the collective reading. If you're watching on YouTube or afterwards, so bear with me if you're live for a second, but if you're watching on YouTube, some of you probably skip the collective and just go straight to like the reading. So maybe maybe you just need to hear it twice, but sometimes that's why perhaps these messages will kind of be in different readings here. And some of you tell me it's like, because it is for like sun, moon, or rising, like a message will repeat in like certain like signs, like your specific signs, and they'll be like, I need to pay attention. You'll be like, that's a good one for you to pay attention to. So that makes sense as well. But Greek god showed up for this one, Zeus, and they did give me like that lightning bolt and like clarity message for you guys specifically as well. Like there are a lot of big ideas coming was one of the messages. A lot of lightning strikes of clarity. You're going to feel much more awake. In general was an interesting one they brought into the universe, snuck in, I guess. The universe is really helping you to wake up to opportunity that's in your life and make the most of it. And a lot of like a quick message that doesn't come through very often, but it's coming through for you guys is for the highest good. A lot of deities are helping you right now for the highest good, or that's the way that source is helping you is through those deities. And one, that symbology, but I guess you could say those beings in the etheric, and they only work for the highest good, by the way. It's all like source working through that deity is a way you could look at it, or maybe that's like a starting place for you to understand it until you get your own understanding of it. Okay, then I'm going to stop with that track of whatever I was saying. So what would be for me to say here? But it doesn't come through very often. But for whatever reason, if you're seeing like a lot of deities showing up, like signs about deities, it's like that deity's helping you is something I'm getting. And for whatever reason, there's a lot that wants to help you right now regarding that. And sometimes we go through like phases of what we work with. Like we're drawn to spirit animals, we're drawn to angels, we're drawn to specific deities that would like to work with us or help us with a specific aspect or all of us or our life. So, and as I glanced at my computer screen, the words pay attention really jumped out at me. So I would be paying attention to the signs and synchronicities around you regarding like everything, but the deities that are showing up. Like one time I was just driving, and I don't know if it's a gang or or what it is, or if it's just like a car shop thing, but in an area I lived in, there were these like cars, and they would always be painted like gold or silver, and they would just have in big like fancy letters like Anubis, like in huge decal across the side of the car. And that was be like, okay, I guess Anubis would like to work with me. So just pay attention to things like that. Ganesha's showing up specifically for this reading as well. Like I know Elephant showed up with obstacle removal. Ganesha is about obstacle removal. But there's like a lot that's trying to help you and either get you out of a stuck place or just like help you with like a stuck area. So just pay attention is what I'd say. Next message is, I feel like is there more with the pay attention here? I feel like there's just a lot of signs in general for you guys, and you just kind of need to pay attention to that. Like it's going to help you a lot. Next message, they show me a club, but not like a club like you go clubbing, but like a wooden club, and like, you know, like that a troll would wield, and they did say the word troll. And what they said is a lot of things may have been, and hopefully I didn't just like, there isn't like a troll in the comments while I said there. But a lot of things may have been like extracting things from you, like extracting like energy from you, but it's like those things are going to stop. Like there's going to be less like torment is something I heard as well. So if there's a I wonder why I'm hearing a weird bad recorder. I don't know if someone's playing YouTube really loud like one of the neighbors, but anyways, if anyone like if anything's just been like extracting energy from you, or an energy vampire or something like that, to use the phrase, I feel like that's going away soon. They're showing me with the club as well. Okay, that makes sense. They're showing me like an ace of clubs, or like I'm not super familiar with like the playing card meanings for those who read playing cards, but they're showing me the club suite, and they show me the club, and they're showing me like an ace of clubs, but they're also showing me like a 4 of clubs and a 6 of clubs. I'm not too sure about the meaning, but what's up with this here? If any of you are knowledgeable about the playing cards and like the meanings, like for people who read playing cards, maybe that's something, a sign for you or something for you to look into. If you're familiar with it, is something I'm getting, or maybe you got a message from that by me saying that, I'm not sure, but that's important for some reason. And I would pay attention to that club suite, like all of you. I feel like in some ways, like that specific sign, like the, you know, like ace of clubs, the playing cards, like that's a sign things are moving in the right direction, or something difficult is leaving is something I'm getting. So, okay. I feel like there's more with that though. So what's up? What else is going on here? So one thing about like aces that I'm getting right now to talk about is like new beginnings. I feel like we're all on like, well, okay, sorry. There's like a cusp of a new beginning, or an inkling of a new idea or something coming in. I'm getting the month March right now. We're filming this in, January. And of course it's going to be timeless it's timeless now, but when it's up on YouTube, it's timeless as well. So it could just be in the next couple months, or maybe March is still important. So there might be like a new beginning. Well, what I'm getting is a new beginning coming in March for some of you. For others of you, there's a new beginning that's already underway that's like important for your future, So just pay attention to that. I just feel like there's a new beginning coming, interestingly enough. Next message, there was just a quick reminder about money, just to pay attention to your money, not to overspend right now. Just be a little bit thrifty is what I'm getting. You don't have to go crazy with it and like eat moldy bread, or like it doesn't have to be like the Great Depression up in here or anything like that. But be like a little bit thrifty. Like don't go crazy is what I'd say right now for whatever reason. Next message, they gave me the word drama and like dramatic. It was just a quick message, like if things get dramatic in your life, like ask yourself, like, is there another way? Like there might be another way, or like another place you can go until like a storm blows over with drama or something like that. But you're not really meant to be in drama 24/7. I feel like it's a sign that something is like wrong if you are in drama 24/7. Like it should be a different speed is what I'm getting. I feel like drama sometimes is okay. Like it happens, we have to work through things, but if it's 24/7 for you, I'd ask yourself what's going on and like try to change it up somehow. Like it's not the way things are supposed to be is what I'm getting. Next message, they showed me a boat and gave me the word afterlife, and they want me to talk about it. So there was this music video, and I feel like it's a trope in other things as well. Like if you think of Harry Potter, there's like the boats with the dude with a lantern, and he has like a pole and he's like moving the boats from like the Hogwarts train to the school or whatever. But there's also a music video, and I know I quote and reference Lee Harris like all the time here, but it's just what they show me, so it's just what I do. Not what I do, but it's just something that happens right now, I guess. And there was one music video he did for a song, and like one thing that represented like a person's, and it was a really beautiful music video, honestly, but it was about someone who passed over, and they were on this boat to the afterlife, you could say. It was like the visual representation of that. They were on like a similar boat with a dude with a lantern and like the stick or whatever. And they showed me like that visual or something similar, and they were just kind of giving me this message for you, like that you guys are being taken to a new part of your life. So it's not like a physical, actual, like you're dying. Hopefully, it's not. Sorry, it's not. But like you're being taken to a new part of your life that's birthing really quickly, and like you also have a new you coming. So for some of you, it's like an old part of you that's dying off that needs to go finally. It could be both, where it's like a part of you and like a part of your life are kind of either dying or just like transitioning. I really feel like it's really beautiful. I feel like this is a beautiful transition. It's like what you need. I feel like you've been hoping for it. So you're just moving to this new part of your life that you were always destined to go to. For some of you, you are coming into money, and like that's part of what this new part of your life is about. For others of you, like there's romance that's birthing. For some of you, it's a romance dying off and new romance is birthing, is something I'm getting. Not all of you, don't freak out, please. I know like one thing that's happened for me, and they're telling me to talk about it, which is why I'm talking about it. It's like sometimes like when you get into a relationship, it's like every like message you hear from someone that's about it, and then you're like, oh no, my romantic relationship. I don't know why I'm getting Italian on you, but and it's like not about that. So don't necessarily freak out about that information. It's don't assume the worst, I guess you could say. If you get any intuitive information as I'm talking, listen to that, but it could be something completely different, and sometimes it's not as dramatic as it seems, like we were talking about, sort of, not exactly what we were talking about, but sort of. But all that to say, like, I don't know why they're showing me a Tim Burton scenery. I don't even like, I'm going to be really honest here. I don't like Tim Burton's work all the time. I just don't like the vibe. I'm not into the creepy, spooky thing personally. I just feel like there's a better way for me and what I resonate with, I suppose. And if you like him, I'm not saying you suck, and I'm not saying like you shouldn't or anything. It's just my personal preference personally. I just, for whatever reason, I've found like I don't like a lot of his work. Just, I'm not trying to beat up on Tim Burton or say you're wrong or he's wrong or anything. It's just preference, I guess. But why? All that aside, why are we being shown this? What's the message for you guys regarding all this here? I feel like you're being brought out of Tim Burton and into fairy tale. So you're just kind of moving out of some of the effed up stuff in life in general. And this could be like a big overarching theme. This could be like a 20-year trajectory you've been on to move out of the messed up and into like, and you're going to start to see that smaller big birth and like move into that energy more of like more of like fairy tale energy is what they're showing me. And like good fairy tale, not like weird old messed up German fairy tales where everyone dies or something like that. But and for some of you it's like a big thing. For some of you it's just like you've been in like Tim Burton for a month, and then it's like you're moving out of the spooky and like things are fine again, and it's more like your norm is the fairy tale and the magic. You're like, oh okay, we're good now, we're back back to the program, the good program, not the bad program, not the societal programming. Though I feel like that's improving, honestly. But that's another story they don't want me to get into. I'm sorry. Gradually and over time. I don't know if it'll be like there tomorrow. I'm going on like 20 tangents. I'm sorry, guys. But anyways, moving out of the Tim Burton and the spooky. And for those of you who like Tim Burton, just, I guess it could be a lighter, brighter version of whatever you enjoy. I don't know. Or that or better for the highest good. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't feel like I'm conveying that last message correctly, but let's move on here. Anything else about that we need to get to here? I feel like some of you are afraid of death. Okay, this might be literal. Some of you are afraid of death. It's a good time to work through that and get over that. I don't mean to be like harsh with like, get over it. It's not, I'm not trying to be like that guy, but that's just, that was what I hear. Like, work on it and get over it, honestly, like legitimately, or just work through it more. So you're just less afraid of some of the things that happen, or some of the things that happen in the world, because there are going to be some like potentially spookier things in the world that might just like grip you, and you don't actually have anything to be afraid of. I'm not necessarily getting, like, I'm getting there's not necessarily anything catastrophic coming for any of you. Like, that's something I want to stress as well. But some of the things that are coming up might like really grip you if you're afraid of death, is something I'm getting. And I'm not saying you're wrong or bad or unevolved if you're afraid of death at all, like at all. It just might be something to look at and work through. But I feel like if you're not as afraid, or you've worked through it a bit more, you might be like, okay, I can keep going with my life. Things are going to be okay. And like, you just might not be as gripped by certain world events, as something I'm getting. But I honestly feel like you're going to be okay. It's not like a message like bad things are coming for you specifically. It's just, how you're relating to world events or things like that. Or maybe like certain, not like you personally, but certain personal events, or even if it's just like acquaintances or things you're not super directly attached to or connected to in your life, if that makes sense. Let's move on to the next message, because I feel like I'm saying like a bajillion different messages here, but anything else that would be highest much for me to get to here? They just want to clarify something really quickly here. A fairy tale doesn't necessarily mean perfect. I'm not going to limit it and say it can't be perfect. I'm not going to be irresponsible and promise it's going to be perfect unless I hear the message. But it does mean better. It's something they wanted to clarify for you guys there. So the next message here, there's more with the Tim Burton thing. I'm so sorry. What's going on here? What do we need to get to here? So some of you feel like your joy is in the past, is something they're showing me. They keep showing me like a Nightmare Before Christmas, and they're showing me like Sally for some reason from that movie. I don't even like that movie, but they're showing me the movie and they're showing me that character, and they zoomed in on that character, and they're like, okay, some of you think your joy is in the past, is the message. It's actually, it could be in the present, but it's also in the future, and it's where you're heading. So don't like keep your head turned back thinking like, oh, all my joy is in like what's behind me. All my joy has passed me. Woe is me. There's no more joy for me, because there's like so much more joy than ever before, perhaps in the present as well, but in the present and future, and especially in what's coming is something I'm getting. You just have to keep your head towards the future and maybe let go of the past a little bit. Especially for anyone of you, probably not all of you, who think like, oh, all my joy is in the past, in this time period, or this person, or this relationship, or this job, or whatever. It's not, is something I'm getting. So try to avoid that trap. So, okay, we got it. Next message, or hopefully we got it. We got enough of it. Next message here. They showed me a banana, and it was just like a message about a lot of layers being peeled away to unveil a more authentic you. You're just in that process. You have been. That's coming in big here. I also feel like your heart is being unveiled more, and like you're living more from your heart and more intuitively, which is exactly what you need. I feel like that's perfect. I feel like that's also going to help you lead to that fairy tale land, instead of being stuck in like the creepy, like we were just talking about. The next message, which is about your heart as well, is like your heart is showing, and now is the time to be heart-centered. I'm not sure. Well, I don't know. That's just the message they have had me write, is now is the time to be heart-centered. So as far as what you're supposed to do with that message, sometimes you're just supposed to hear the message and let it digest, let it do its thing or percolate. For some of you, that sparks something in you energetically. It's like, things like that. As far as like what else I'd like to say about that or anything else before we start to wrap up this reading here, they're showing me a boat here. It's more of a speed boat, actually. So some of you don't realize how quickly things can turn around for you, especially regarding something that's been difficult. I would really be like praying and like working with the universe regarding your difficult circumstances, like build a crystal grid, set intentions, do some energy healing. If you do energy healing, like regarding a circumstance, like write it down on a piece of paper and facilitate healing for the situation or something like that. If you do Reiki, like you already know what to do, hopefully regarding that. But there are a lot of tools you have that you're not using that if you're using could change things quickly. So they're like saying like, I don't know if this is right. I'm not sure if I'm using words correctly, but they're like, throw the whole gamut at it. Like, try a bunch of everything to like shift things regarding certain difficult situations. And yes, I know sometimes there's things we just have to go through and learn from and grow and heal, and it's doing something for us and etc. And I'm not saying to try and bypass things, but the message is the message. They're saying like, hey, try to use your tools, try and shift this, try to move out of this difficult situation, because you can, or you can like facilitate healing for something in your life and like really shift it. I'm just hearing like things don't have to be difficult right now or in the future. And the possibilities for stepping out of difficulty are opening wide. If you're utilizing your tools and learning and growing and continually implementing what you learn etherically from the right spiritual teachers is something they're saying, or from the right things you're learning, if that makes sense. And as you get your own experiences, you'll know what works for you. If this is you, like you won't have to feel pulled around by different spiritual teachers or by conflicting advice. They're like that about the conflicting advice thing. So eventually you're going to get things into practice enough and have the experience where you won't be pulled around by things so much. And you might just be intuitively led to what works, and you won't have to listen to anyone, which, that sounds pretty empowered to me. So that's kind of, they're saying no more for the fire signs. There might be like one more message. They're like, nope, we're done. So hope that made sense and was helpful. I was seeing like a grasshopper as I wrapped up that reading. Just like be sure to take any leaps you need to take. But I feel like that's for everyone here. Perhaps not just the fire signs. We're going to move to the earth signs after I sip some coffee. Weird habit I picked up, singing things like that. Give me 1 second here. Okay. So, earth signs, sun, moon, or rising. They want to give myself like 1 second just to kind of collect myself. So, okay, so they want me to start with the channel message I have here first and foremost. So for the earth sign, sun, moon, and rising, it's about the up-leveling of you. So you are in process of a major overhaul in your life and of you. Your vibration is overhauling for the better, and like what you bring to the table is overhauling for the better or just improving. So you are literally up-leveling yourself big time. I misspelled something and it's bothering me. So give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry. I don't know, even when I'm channeling messages, I don't always spell things perfectly because I'm hearing the words, I'm typing, and sometimes it just doesn't type out right, especially when I'm trying to type fast to keep up. But I digress, and I don't know, maybe that's helpful for one of you to hear regarding your own channeling. But so anything else about you guys up-leveling yourself here? I feel like your life is up-leveling. I feel like it's disconcerting when it happens sometimes. I don't want to put that on it all the time, but again, sometimes you feel like you're losing something or losing your grip on something, or maybe, and I don't want to put this on you guys either, but maybe you just feel a lot of like contraction energetically and you're like, ugh, like this feels uncomfortable, but it's about to expand out, into something beautiful. And I really feel like it is, because they're really highlighting that expansion there when I said it. Excuse me. Just know you're getting a big up-leveling to things. I'd be a little bit patient with yourself, because sometimes when something's being worked out of your system or healed, you just feel like everything's wrong, but nothing's wrong, it's just like a process you're going through. I don't know, it's like going to the doctor and you don't like the atmosphere and like you feel sick, but you're on the right track to get better, I guess. I know not all of you like the doctor, I'm sorry, but that's just the analogy they gave me. So the next message, they showed me a dinosaur, and this is intertwined with the first message. They're saying like old patterns are leaving. So you are healing old patterns that are on the way out, and like you are going to overcome that, even like this week for some of you, but very from whenever you're seeing this, but soon is something I'm getting. Again, it can be disconcerting when like certain things shove themselves in our face and we're like afraid, or afraid of losing something like we did in the past, or you're not regressing, but maybe you feel like you're regressing in some area and you're like, oh, I'm moving backwards. Woe is me. My life is going to, it's not going to fall apart. Like you're fine. But I know sometimes in the moment, it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like you're fine, but I really feel like you will be. So just keep that in mind as well. Even like ancient history is healing, like genetics, things that are buried way deep down, like in your psyche or like subconscious, are being like surfaced to look at. And sometimes that can be a little bit brutal for our internal world, because we're used to, maybe some of you are used to things being like rainbow and butterflies in there, but all of a sudden it's like, to borrow from the fire sign reading, it's like Tim Burton landscape, where like, this isn't my internal world. What is this? But it's just something you're working out of your system. It's like something you're healing. It's definitely like anything weird like that's going to be very short-lived. Is something I'm getting. Like a day is something I'm hearing, like a maximum. So don't worry too much about that. The next message, they want me to skip a message here. Okay, so our good friend Giraffe showed up for the reading. Giraffe, spirit animal, shows up for these sometimes, and it was about, they showed me like this giraffe, like its neck like lengthening into the forward, I guess, along like a path or into the future. It's really weird because this visual is interesting. There's like these glass planes, but they almost look like dimensions, but they're like these vertical light planes or glass planes, and this giraffe, as his like head stretches forward, is like shattering these like glass planes. Bear with me. It's weird, but bear with me. And I feel like you're breaking barriers in your life first and foremost. I feel like you're gonna be moving faster than ever before, because they gave me the word like sound barriers, and it was this message of like breaking the sound barrier and like going Mach 3 in life. So some of you are really turning on the jets and moving forward, like in business and health and wellness. Like you're really changing things quickly, which is good. It's like someone added rocket fuel to your tank there, which you needed, I feel. For others of you with this message here, I feel like you're breaking barriers that have really been holding you back. If you remember like Star Wars Episode 1, the prequels, which I know people really don't like those movies, some of them, but I don't know. I think okay, personal side note, when I was a kid growing up, I think that it just landed at the right time where like my imagination's all open and fun, and like I really liked the movies because I was like 8 or whatever. So I don't remember how old I was exactly, but I have a childhood appreciation for those movies, I guess, and that's why maybe I find myself enjoying them when I do watch them. Haven't watched them in a long time. Anyways, there's this scene where they're fighting the main antagonist in the end, in like that one, and there's like these weird energy corridors where it's like these like big red energetic like force field barriers like will turn on and then turn off, and it's really, I don't know what function it would actually serve in that universe. I think it's just there to look cool for the fight scene at the ends, but it kind of looks like that. Why is that important? Let's see here. It's almost like those are the barriers you're breaking through, like something that maybe previously seemed unbreakable. I don't feel like it really was that though, or just seemed difficult to break through, or like you just kind of come up against an obstacle and you're like, how am I going to break through this? I feel like it's just leaving. It's just like crumbling to dust. It's just turning off. So a lot of the barriers to your forward movements are leaving. All that to say that. Hopefully that, sorry for the tangent if that was annoying, but we're gonna I know it wasn't for all of you, but let's move on to the next message here, or anything. So the original message here, anything else with this before we move forward here, was like, it might seem like you're on like a long road of some sort, but if you just put one foot in front of the other, you get very far. I feel like that is important. There are some challenges that seem like a lot that aren't a lot regarding your journey right now, because they're showing me a mountain, but it's like as you get closer to the mountain, it's like a cardboard cutout and you just push it over, and like sometimes things just seem really intimidating, but they're not, and we just need to move forward and like realize like we can handle it. And it's, it's like that thing where we think it's a really big deal to handle this like chore or this task, and then it takes like 5 minutes, and like we put it off for like, we just thought it was a big deal and it wasn't, that, what I'm talking about there. So the next message they showed me this pail. I don't remember if I had like a weird moment this morning when I was channeling this message where I'm like, is garbage pail a real thing? Because I could have sworn I heard that phrase somewhere. I was just having a weird, or maybe it's like a thing in England, but not in the US. I don't know. But I think it just means garbage basket. But the message is there's a lot of trash being removed from your like thought process right now, or from your mindset, maybe even from your beliefs. So I would just allow the universe to extract the trash from you. And they're giving me this message of like, not everything is gold. Like the thing they're showing me when they give me that message of not everything is gold is like from like something you've heard from a guru or like a self-help book or podcast. Like sometimes there are things that seem like gold and it's gold for us at the time, but then we like level up like 10 times over and it's like the phrase no longer really applies, or we're just like in a whole different reality. So like we can forget what we heard from like the success guru or Steve Harvey, or I'm not trying to talk trash about these guys at all, but Lewis Howes or whoever, and realize like, okay, we're on a whole nother level. Like we need to listen to like spirit instead of these guys. Like these guys might have been helpful for us in the past, but it's like, it's time to move on. So just keep that in mind. Like there might be things that served you at a time that won't carry you forward and you need to let go of that. And maybe that's kind of linked in with you guys also got a message like elephant obstacle removal, just like the fire sign. So the message for you is like, just to move. I'm really jumping ahead, so I apologize. Anything else I need to get to before I say this here? Okay, just move forward and obstacles will be removed was the message, especially regarding things that seem difficult or like daunting or maybe even taunting. I feel like you like take a step forward and it crumbles. So just try moving forward is what I'd say, especially if something seems like you can't do it or it'll be impossible to achieve. They're showing me this quote from a movie, Ultraviolet, which I don't think is good. I watched it when I was very young. I think it was just on at one of my parents' houses, and it was like this action movie from, I think I was 12. I don't remember, but like the whole thing was like this movie, like the main character is like this supposed to be this really like badass chick, and all these like dudes in the movie will be like, you can't do this, blah, 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 blah. And she'll just be like, watch me. And then she'll just do it. So I don't know, but probably a good analogy for this message here. I feel like there's a lot you can accomplish that you don't think you can. You just have to try. Or maybe you'll get way closer than you thought you could. Or maybe you'll actually do it. Or maybe you just had a really messed up preconceived notion of what was possible to the point that like you can just blow your expectations out of the water and just go like way further than you thought you could, or do way better than you thought you could, or something like that. So just keep that in mind, not to limit yourself. So we did talk about giraffe. Anything else with the giraffe and the weird light things and the glass panes and stuff? Nope, just move forward is something I'm getting. I feel like you're being urged to move forward, and I would really heed that urge. It's like, it's time is something I'm getting. It's also like time to go on a journey. So that could literally be travel, but it could also just be like a business venture or a spiritual journey, or just starting something new and learning something new is something I'm getting. It's just time for a journey right now that you need to go on. And even if it seems long, it's like worth it. And they're just giving me this message of like, you know what, long journeys are still journeys you need to go on sometimes. It's like, it's, what are you avoiding by not going on the long journey is something I'm getting. It's just like, just because it's long doesn't mean you should go on it. And I keep getting like these weird things popping in, like, hopefully that just made sense by me saying it, but it's like, you know, you could just be missing out on something. I'll say this quote, and it's something I heard my mom say, and it's something I've heard other people say. It's like, you know, for her, it was like college and getting a degree. It was like, you know, well, 4 years are going to pass anyways. I can like have it be like I'm 50 years old with a degree, or I don't remember how old she was. I'm paraphrasing. Or I could be 50 without a degree. So it's like, you know, I could go on that long journey anyways and like have this thing, or I could avoid it. And it's like, what am I really avoiding? I'm avoiding having a degree. I'm avoiding doing this career I want to do. And I know you don't need a degree for every career. You get it. But bear with me. Work with me here, people. I know most of you are, or all of you. So next message here that they would like me to get to here. So don't be afraid to go on the long journey if you feel called to it. But they gave me the word light, sun, and the word dance all together. And they said, you are actually on the road to a lighter life, a brighter life, more sun, metaphorically. like the Sun Tarot card, for instance. Like you're on that road, keep going is what I'm getting. I feel like it's going to come in sooner than you expect, or like at least this year. I'm also hearing like 6 months, so it could be 6 months. I feel like it's going to be like 6 months from now, like at the furthest, honestly. But it could show up a lot sooner, or you could start seeing the daybreak show up like tomorrow, and it like like the sun rises and you get more sunlight. It could be like that, but over like a metaphor, like over a period of time. But there's just going to be so much more daybreak in your life, metaphorically, where like previously, again, like to borrow from the fire signs reading, maybe it was like a Tim Burton landscape, or it was like more darkness or just confusion or something like that. You're just heading out of that and into a lighter, brighter experience, which is good overall. There may, I'm not trying to stick you with it, there may still be some things, there may not, but overall, lighter, brighter experience here. If you keep going here and keep manifesting it, and you will manifest it. The last thing, they showed me a UFO for the earth signs as well. I know it showed up for the fire signs, but it was just a quick message that you are unusual, and to relish it and to really honor that and trust that that's bringing something new to the earth that's needed. Even if you think it's weird, or people keep painting it as weird, like who cares? Like, what's the best thing to say here? Sometimes you're bringing something new to the earth, and the earth needs it. And it's okay that you're unusual or different. It's like it's needed as something I'm getting. Sorry, I have like cat hair on my shirt. So there's one more message. They want me to pull a card. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Whoop. Okay, here's your card. And the one behind it, they want to. So we have, sorry for the sigh. I'm not trying to sigh. I think I'm hungry. Our Lady of the Inner Gates coming out here. I feel like you're unlocking, we kind of talked about great power in the collective, but you're unlocking a great power within you. I feel like you're also unlocking your intuition, like the fire signs you're going to be seeing very clearly. I also feel like the stars are aligning. There's all these stars up here, and I'm getting the message, and they're showing me the stars aligning on the card and in my intuitive visuals. So there's like the stars aligning for a great success for you, and you just need to keep moving forward. I feel like you will succeed. I would also make the most of it, and like if you can, if it makes sense, if it's lining up, take a lot of action right now. It's going to help you, and you'll be very happy with the bluebirds on the shoulder. To me, bluebirds are like the sun, symbolize happiness, joy, good things, maybe even miracles. I'm hearing the word miracles. But you're on the right track for this. So like if you're working, like keep working is something I'm hearing as well. Because it could be something you're working on where the stars align. It could be you're working on yourself and the stars align. But there's like a big breakthrough coming with like towards success, or like regarding success. And you're going to have it, which is really good. There's also like a white rose around the heart here on this card. I don't remember if white roses symbolize friendship or not, but I'm hearing like something along the lines of a blessing of friendship. Forgive me, I don't remember flower meanings. I know red rose Valentine's Day, and that's what I remember. But for some reason, maybe it was yellow roses are a blessing or like friendship. But for whatever reason, I'm hearing a blessing of friendship. You could also say purity as well. I feel like you are pure, or you're becoming pure. And purity is a theme right now. And I feel like you're going to be very pure, which is good. Okay, I'm getting like a lot of messages, because like there's these like little thing that looks like peacock feathers here, and I know like a lot of these cards have a lot of the same symbology, but I'm just gonna trust the things that jump out at me, the things I'm intuitively guided to talk about here, things I'm divinely guided to talk about here. Kind of the same thing for me, but with the peacock feathers, I'm hearing just be confident you will succeed, and you will. It's not always the trick, but that is the trick now. With it looks like coffee beans over here. You can barely see it probably. I'm realizing I need to cut my fingernails, so I'm sorry. I'm having like a self-conscious moment, but to be transparent. But there's like these things over here. They look like coffee beans here. And I'm hoping this isn't for me, but some of you need to quit caffeine is something I'm getting, or like just cut back a little bit. For others of you, you just need to cut back from certain drugs, and I'm not trying to call you out or anything. It's just what I'm hearing, or it's just certain things that you'll realize are not serving you that might be substance-based. Whatever that is, it might be time to cut back on that is something I'm hearing. The last thing they're showing me here, I don't know if this is something, we'll go for it. And if they don't want me to talk about it, we'll just steer away from it. down here, you can't see it very well, but it looks like the Buddha, almost like a fat, in a good way, fat Buddha. And I'm hearing the words abundance and luxury. I'm just hearing you're fit for that, and don't discount that you can have those things for most of you. Maybe some of you already do, which awesome, congrats. May it grow and expand. Should it be in the highest good and the highest best ways for you? But you're meant for that, and it's coming in, whether quickly or at whatever pace is right for you. Or maybe it's just a sign it will come in the future. So, but okay, to kind of get to an important message or rephrase it, stars are aligning, move forward. With the Our Lady of Innocence coming out here, they're kind of talking about how her cloak is like a sherbet color, like orange sherbets. For those of you who are colorblind, I apologize. You're going to just have to trust me that this looks like an orange sherbet kind of cloak here. But it's about sacral chakra healing and like an emotional release. I feel like some of you like really need to cry, and maybe the universe is going to kind of like jab at you to like cry a little bit and just like know it's okay to cry and to be vulnerable like that. Even if you're a dude and you're a big like husky manly man and you're Ford F-150 with like a cowboy lasso and like a shotgun in your passenger seat, and you're a man. I'm not trying to make fun of you if you're like that. I'm sorry. There is a bit of a stereotype, but even if you're that, and your girlfriend expects you to be manly or something, like even if you have to lock yourself in the shed with the lawnmower and your manly tools and cry, like that's fine. You can do it away from the wife or whatever if she has a problem with it. But sorry, they didn't want me to say that. But that leads me into conversation I would like to have, and that they're telling me to talk about. I guess I want to make sure I get this message out before I go into that. Just know there's emotional healing on the rise, and if you need to release, just do it. This is also about birth and like an emotional birth. And I know we talked about birth, I think in the fire signs reading, or was that this reading? I feel like it's all kind of, anyways, I feel like you're birthing a new part of you, but it might take an emotional release to do that. Or you're birthing an emotional part of you that's more like in tune with your emotions and more in tune with your emotional bodies and more balanced because of that. So I'd really honor that once that comes in. And if anyone has a problem with that, they're not the right person is what I'm getting. Or maybe that's just something you have to like work through with them. Would it be for that good for me to talk about what I'm about to talk about? And how much should I talk about it here? What would be for that good here? I don't know. I think like one thing I like want to talk about, but I'm not sure if I should, is I don't think it's a big deal. I'll just talk about it. Is sometimes just what I've heard from people and what I've noticed is I think, and I'm not trying to say like, oh, you're bad or call you out. And I know some of you are probably the exact opposite, totally fine with this. But sometimes what I've noticed is like even a woman, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you are involved and totally good with this, but there are certain women who they'll even be like, oh, I'm totally good with like men being emotional and like crying and releasing, but it's like when a dude actually is really vulnerable and emotional, like I've heard that sometimes even those women will confide in a friend where it'll be like, yeah, that actually still surprised me. Like I wasn't really expecting that, or like it was something I still needed to work through. So if you are dating a dude and he gets emotional, I would be willing to work through that with them and that part of yourself, and be open to men being emotional in your life. Because some of the connection you're looking for in a man, some of you, this is not for all of you, does involve them being emotional, and like you being able to handle them. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir right now, but you being able to handle them crying, for like the one or two of you that need to hear that. I don't know. That's just something maybe I should talk about a different time here. We're going to close your signs reading. Hope that was helpful. I have a moonstone here and I feel called to talk about it. That might be an important crystal for you right now. Like you might just want to like hold a moonstone to your third eye and just kind of meditate. And maybe you'll want to hold a weird exercise I'm just receiving right now is like hold a moonstone to your third eye, moonstone, or like a sunstone up to like around your a crown chakra or something like that, or just sit with them in your hands or work with them how you feel called. But I feel like moonstone's important to you right now, so that might just be a good crystal to work with. Okay, I'm gonna drink coffee for a second. Okay. Love that. Thanks, Sammy Grace. You might have been talking about something really specific I said, but thank you anyways. um, so we did fire, we did earth, air signs. I'm going to give myself like 1 second here just to kind of breathe here. Bree is asking, I'm going to open more days for reading soon. I just kind of needed some space for a second for myself while I kind of like worked through some things, but nothing crazy, by the way. It was just, for me, for whatever reason, that's kind of just something I needed. You missed fire. I'm so sorry. It will be reposted on YouTube. I'm doing my best to post them like sooner after the live ends. So like either tonight, Monday, or Tuesday. I'm trying to work on that because I think it's better for you guys. I feel like I used to be on like an awful track with like reposting lives, or it'd be like a week or like weeks. But I feel like I've got a better process and like groove with it now. So give me 1 second here. So maybe we're not ready to start here. I'm gonna drink more water first. Air sign, sun, moon, or rising. How are you doing? So I think the open to people crying was for me. Aw. Well, I hope it was really helpful and just leads to the best for you in your life, and whatever ways would be for your eyes good. Absolutely. So air sign, sun, moon, or rising. This is for you when you see it, of course. Hey, perfect timing, Cash Plush Chloe. Maybe I had to pause for you. So where would be best? So the first message that came through here, they're showing me the sun here. I feel like the sun is birthing in your life very unexpectedly. They're showing me something, you know how in like Star Wars or like space video games, there's like and I don't mean warp in a bad way, but like warp speed or like a light speed or like teleport thing. And it's like the thing will just be like woof, it'll just like appear. It's almost like the sun is like light speeding. Well, I know speed of light, but it's kind of just like woof into your life is like the way it's showing up, kind of like out of nowhere. I feel like it's just kind of like been hidden behind the clouds and it's about to peek through, or you've been going through like a rainy season or like the monsoon season, you know, like I think it's in Asia. Do they have the monsoon season or something like that? And I'm so sorry if I'm not getting that correct geographically, but I know there's some area around there, I think, with like monsoons and things like that. But that's about to pass is something I'm getting, and like the sun is birthing into your life really quickly. I feel like it's very needed. It also just feels like a breath of fresh air to me is something I'm getting. The first message that channeled through ahead of time, they're showing me a spider here as well. And they're really talking about the number 8, like 8 legs, 8 eyes here. And this sounds very specific, but we'll talk about it. It almost sounds like 8 trials that you've been through, or like 8 things you've had to work through. And it's like you're about to come full circle with it. This might just be very specific for a few of you. But you're about to like heal and release a lot of negativity and like never deal with it again is something I'm getting. So kudos to you if that's you. I feel like you've done a lot of good work. I just feel like there's a lot of negativity leaving though is something I'm getting. So the next thing they showed me is like a sorry for the pause, a cruise ship. So one of the messages was, this might be for like me too for a second here. Never mind, don't want me to take that back. But it just said, relax, my friend, rest if you need it. Some of you air signs, or a lot of you, are overworked and just like need a day off or something. So just maybe take a little extra time to rest. I never want to like stick you with that for a month and then like you're like resting for like 2 months or a year and you're like, did I get it? Don't like stress about the message too much for like any of this. I would take it as it resonates and like work with it as works for you. But my intention is that it's like fully accurate and fully helpful. So hopefully it's all just making sense right off the bat. You don't need to worry about it. But some of you just need to relax and like rest a little bit. I feel like some of you are also like worried for nothing. Like there's a lot you're worried about that's not going to pass. So like do your best not to over worry about something, even if it's like world events. I feel like things are going to be okay. Okay, so the next thing they show me, though, all that said, is like rough waters and like sharks in the water. And all that being said, it's kind of like you're being rescued by the universe in some capacity, like from a rough situation or something like that's been going on or like will be going on. I feel like if something does show up, it's gonna be very short lived. So especially if you felt like you've been like drowning in some way, like, or it could even be like you're drowning in insecurity and the universe like rescues you from it and shows you a perspective. But if you felt like you've been drowning, even if it's in something like insecurity, like you're going to be rescued from it. For some of you, it's financial and like you're getting a boost. For others of you, it's like emotional. For others of you, yeah, it's like a job situation that sucks, like you're being pulled out of in a healthy, good way. So just keep that in mind. You're being like rescued from rough waters, and the sharks are not going to get you is something I'm getting as well. So I don't know why they're showing me like Shark Tank, but so maybe it's different metaphors for sharks not getting you. The next message they just show me the color pink, and it was about heart healing. They just said like it's in the air for you guys, so it's going to be hitting a bit more. Is something I'm getting, like heart healing for you guys. Just like maybe a little bit harder, but in a good way. They're showing me like is it defibrillator? I'm so sorry if I butchered that word, but the one where they're like clear and it's like electric and stuff. I think it's defibrillator. I think is how you pronounce it. I feel like it's gonna be a bit more intense or like a shock, but it's like very healing. So it's almost like you're getting like a heart jump start. Hopefully not literally or physically, but metaphorically and like energetically, for heart healing. And not in a way that sends you into a spiral. I feel like this like balances you out, but it's like a quick healing of the heart is coming in for you guys as well, or you're going through that. The next thing they showed me is a dove, and it was about a peace offering. So some type of like peace offering, either between you and the universe or between you and a friend. So maybe some of you have had something going on with like a friend or a relationship in your life, and more peace. Give me 1 second here. Like more peace bursts into the situation, or like they extend a peace offering, or maybe you do, and it kind of rectifies the situation. Some of you are moving away from friendships that are no longer serving you, is what I'm hearing, or that like keep getting in your way with like the life you'd like to live is something I'm getting. And sometimes friends get in the way of like a really bad decision, and that's like something to be thankful for, but that's not what they're talking about. Sometimes it's more just like, sometimes you're trying to be successful and they're like, no, don't make money, go out with us and be broke and commiserate with us. And you just kind of have to be aware of that and like what you would like, I suppose. But if you're being held back, that's leaving is something I'm getting. Next thing they showed me in olive, it was about the flavor of life changing. They showed me this in like to me it was funny. I'm like, oh, this is funny. But they were showing someone like swimming in like a sea. It was almost like a bowl of cereal, but it was like the sea. And they were like swimming in like Fruity Pebbles or something, like one of the cereal brands. And it was like they got to this line. Okay, I can see where they got to this line where it's like instead of like Fruity Pebbles, it's like Cocoa Puffs. And so like the flavor of your life changes. And I get these messages in different ways every so often. But it's kind of like you were, again, like swimming through a sea of like one flavor of cereal, and then you get to a sea of like the other one. And it's like the flavor of your life changes. I'm getting it's an upgraded. So it could just be like you're moving from like a boring cereal that's bland to like something really like flavorful and delicious. And let's just pretend that the cereal is good for you. I know. I know there's like weird stuff in processed food sometimes and all that, but pretend it's good for you and it's all good. And you're just moving from bland cereal to think of the flavor. The flavor is the main thing. You're moving to a good flavor and it's healthy and good or something like that. So, I feel like you're just kind of hitting this crux point where things like go from like boring to exciting, or lame to really delicious or something, which is really good. And I feel like it's something you can't get enough of. Sorry for the pause, is something I'm getting, or something like you really enjoy and would like to stay in forever is the phrase I'm hearing, which sounds a bit extreme, but it's what I'm hearing. And I've learned that I need to go with what I'm hearing. So next message here, they show, is there more with that? And I don't know why olive showed up along with like the cereal thing, but maybe an olive is like a sign or synchronistic for you regarding that. maybe it's a flavor you enjoy and you're metaphorically getting more of that flavor. But anyways, dog showing up next, and it's about being loyal to your dreams and not letting anyone hold you back. We kind of just talked about this with the friendship thing. I feel like some of you are getting like a new dream that you really desire, and like you really need to move towards it and not let anything get in your way. For others of you, it's easy to let like loyalty to friends or family or like what people think of you get in the way of something you really desire. But it's time to flip that if that describes you. What I'm hearing is like your relationships are not going to serve you the way your dreams do. I don't think that's like the perfect way to phrase it. So give me 1 second to get the message that would be most helpful for you here. Holding yourself back for a relationship is not going to serve you in the same way as going towards a dream and letting that relationship restructure as it will or as the universe deems would be for the highest good as a result of you going for that dream or what you feel called to. There's a reason you feel called to it. That relationship wouldn't restructure if it didn't have to. Again, it's kind of like you don't need to keep things comfortable at the expense of your dreams or what you truly desire, if that makes sense. And sometimes there's a little bit of uncomfortability. You have to like allow things to restructure between like you and someone else or multiple people, and like that's okay. And they want me to tell you because it reminds me of things I've heard about people who, and I've heard this from multiple things, like there was like an abundance thing that I think Lee Harris did, and he was talking about like sometimes like you go to manifest like $1 million. I think he's British, so he originally, so he said £1 million or something. So I don't know, $1 million, a lot of monies. You manifest a lot of monies, and I'm being silly, but then all of a sudden it's like things start to change in your life. You're like, okay, maybe this relationship does get a bit weird and this friend is weird towards you. Or like, then all of a sudden, like you had this job and then like, maybe you won the lottery. I don't know. I feel like or you started a business on the side and it really launched, but you still had time for a job, and then you get fired, or like just certain things like change because like you're in a different energy, you're in a different frequency. It changes the dynamics. But who's to say there aren't better things for you on the other side of that, first of all. Second of all, I keep like all these different like times I've heard different things say this thing is showing up where it's like someone like their businesses really took off, you could say, and then they got like a lot of money, and then all of a sudden like their friends and people started treating them really weird, and then they had to kind of like move away from their friendships and or maybe there was like some type of other loss associated with it. But what I'm hearing is like it's worth it, at least for you guys now, or it was like worth it for them. And would you rather have what you dream of or stay stuck is kind of the question. Even if this is comfortable and seems like rewarding in some ways, maybe some of it's actually phony and you're not getting what you think out of it. And like, if your friends would hold you back from success, are they really your friends? Is another question for you. If this is a topic you've been hung up on, or if you need to consider this for the future or whatever, I'm just getting your dreams are worth it. And if things need to restructure for them, that's fine. Anything else on that before we move on? I feel like we're like, okay, never mind. They didn't want me to say it. What would be highest message for us to get to next year? I know this came through with the earth signs, but I'll get like also like you guys are getting a lot of trash removed from your life, but I feel like it's like around you. It's like crappy jobs. Well, it makes sense because we talked about getting rescued out of rough waters, but like crappy job situations, leaving, or like things like that. So a lot of trash is being like excavated and like repurposed or like recycled. So you have like new products in your life. Like how trash gets recycled into like the water bottles or the glass bottles or new products or things like that. Or like chairs and things. So next message, they showed me the president. Okay, so this was a weird one. So we were kind of still in this dog note, but like they shifted gears with a different message. And they want to go through the whole thing for whatever reason. So they showed like you. And you were like, it was kind of like if like the president of the United States, how they have like this whole thing where there's like these stairs that go up to the plane or whatever that the president flies in. And there's usually like the president stepping out with like the first lady and like Secret Service. And this is not a message about the president. This is about you, because they showed you like stepping out of this plane and like stepping down like from the stairs. And then like okay, this is not about the president, this is about you. So you're stepping, that was just like so you get the picture of like what it looks like for you in this visual. And you step down from the plane onto the stairs, and this dog runs towards you. And the message was like you are being protected from like things going overly wrong, because like this dog looked angry, I suppose you could say. And so I just feel like you're going to be protected from like that metaphorical angry dog. Like you're going to be totally fine is something I'm getting. So let's go to any other messages that would be fair. I good at this time here. They're showing me a pencil, like a number 2 pencil, and they're showing someone taking a test. Like, you know, like I don't know if they have these anymore, but back when I was in high school, they had like the Scantrons, and you were supposed to like fill in these like little bars or like these rectangles with your answers. It was usually like multiple choice questions for like a test or something like that. I feel like you're being tested, but you're going to succeed in some area, whether it's like a human test. My perspective that I tend to take, and sometimes like I just have to deliver the messages how it's going to best serve you guys, regardless of my personal beliefs, or what I get for myself. But if you guys feel like you're being tested, I feel like you're going to pass is something I'm getting. I really personally would say like the universe doesn't test us unless we create that. I don't feel like I'm saying that right. I'm so sorry. My question is like, why would the universe test us? Like it already knows everything. It's infinitely intelligent, infinitely wise. It is us. It knows how we're going to handle a situation. It doesn't need to guess and be like, oh, let's see what happens. I mean, maybe in some ways, like, yeah, we're co-creating, but it knows, you know. So for me, it's like, there's no reason for us to be tested. If we're going through something, maybe it's for growth, or maybe it's for expansion, or it's like a lesson that serves us in the future for a path we're supposed to go down or we're going down, or, you know, things like that. That's just my perspective on it and more what I would say. But as far as the message for you regarding the Scantron and the test and you passing, I feel like if you feel like you're being tested, you're passing is something I'm hearing. For some of you, it could be like a test at work or something that's important and like you get a passing grade, or maybe it's in school. Some of you are in school and taking a test and you'll do well. Or maybe you're like doing a test for like a license or something and eventually you'll get it. Especially if you're in like a time crunch, I feel like you'll be fine, and that might not be for everybody here. There's one more message with like the dog here, and they're showing me a golden retriever here. So what's up with dog here? It's just a quick reminder to stay loyal to you. And it's not like a selfish or narcissistic thing, but to stay loyal to you above all else. Like you're the one who has to go through your life. You're the one who has to go through your experience. So harming your experience for others isn't always the way. And, you know, sometimes we're divinely guided to do something like, an example I'm borrowing, or maybe they're borrowing because they showed it to me from, a reading I got from, they want me to give her a shout out. There's this reader named Anna Anthony, and she's great. Anna's Synergy Healing on Facebook if you want to find her, but she's pretty dang awesome. Highly recommended if I'm not available or you need a reading and you don't feel called to me, could be a good person to go to instead. But anyways, one example she brought through for a reading for me was like, you know, sometimes you're guided to like give away your favorite crystal. Her example, and maybe you need to hear this, is why this is being brought to my awareness to talk about here. But it's like, yeah, maybe you're guided to give away your favorite crystal, and you're like, what? This is my favorite big boy, my big selenite boy. But it's like, maybe, but what she said is like, you know, what is that opening space for in your life? Like what could be coming in to like replace that? And there is like a recent story that kind of relates. I don't know if it was my favorite crystal, but there's this really cool Labradorite I had, and I was being guided to at least lend it to someone for them to like have it at their work, to like help the workspace and help the people there and help them probably at their work. And I was like, okay, like I really love this one, but that's what I'm being guided to do. Okay. And man, not even a week later, like we'd got these, like, we just ended up getting a larger Labradorite, the person I'm dating and me, which is really funny. So we got this really beautiful like replacement that I really, really love. So, and I like, sometimes the crystals are like my babies. I sometimes hesitate, be like, oh, this one's better, this one's worse, because it's just like they're like listening. I'm like, but in some ways it's exactly what was needed, and it was the perfect thing, and it's what wanted to come in. So it made sense to make space for it that way, and allow that other crystal to go do its work and help other people. Where perhaps the space and I have gotten what I needed from it for now, or it's done its work for me, or something like that. And maybe it'll come back, maybe not, but you get it. I feel like that's it. I feel like I just went on these like really intuitive tangents, because I feel like sometimes when I'm like channeling like that and delivering the messages and like, I guess you could say being intuitive, I come back, I'm like, oh man, now I'm back. So, okay. Anything else for the air signs before we part ways? They're showing me they've been like, they're ending this reading like they ended the fire signs reading as well, like an image of a grasshopper. And be sure to take leaps you need to take. Same message is kind of what they're talking about, if you feel called to them. So we're going to take a quick coffee break for like a minute here, and I'll be right back. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, let's go to the water signs. So if you, one second. This is for you. If you have a water sign, sun, moon, or rising. Give me 1 second. So, funny enough, for the water sign, sun, moon, or rising, and this is for you when you see it, of course, if you're watching on YouTube. They are showing me water. Like, we're starting at the surface of like the ocean or a lake. There's like mountains in the Mount Kilimanjaro is not by the ocean, is it? But they're showing me this like mountain in the background and this like water, and it goes underwater. The intuitive visual. We're going underwater. It's almost like with a submarine, and they're showing I know sometimes these get fun, but bear with me. They're showing me like that song "We All Live in a Yellow Submarine" by the Beatles. I'm wondering if they were on drugs when they wrote that, but maybe not. Maybe that's like a British phrase for something. I don't know. Anyways, we're undersea. There's a submarine. And they're showing this like secret portal opening up underwater. And like, if that happened on Earth, no one would know about it, except maybe the fish and the mermaids or whatever, if you believe in mermaids. And I don't know why that snuck through, but it did. And it could let in like it's for the highest good. This is not like a negative thing or a weird negative thing at all. You know, it could let in all these new, like for instance, like ascension energies or something, like into the sea, into the earth, and like raise the vibration of the ocean, and no one would know about it is kind of like something they're saying for starters. And I feel like something similar that's like a metaphor or symbolic for something that's and again, it's not negative, it's positive, it's for the highest good. It's happening in your life where it's like somewhere, like someone or you did something that like for the highest good, like opened up these higher frequencies, and it's like slowly transforming everything, but maybe you can't pinpoint like where or what's doing it, but it is happening and it's for the highest good. I feel like you just need to trust it and like roll with the change. And trust is for the highest good, even if it seems disconcerting at time, because sometimes mystery is a little disconcerting because we're like, what's happening to me? And you're going to be okay. It's something you're going to be fine. It's just like the universe wants to do some work under the table for your highest good. And it's not shady. It looks shady and the visual looks a little weird, but it's not shady is what I'm getting. It's just a way to skirt around like any enemies you may have, for instance. And I'm not talking about etheric enemies. I don't know, like people who would want to stop your progress is something I'm getting, or it's a way to skirt around things that would like sabotage that happening. So you have a lot of good work being done under the table. Just trust it. Universe, for the highest good, has your back is something I'm getting. Just know like there's like transformation happening under the table. Weird message, but I feel like you're gonna love it, and it's exactly what needs to happen. And it might just like kind of culminate all at once, or it's like you're one way and you wake up and you're just like a little bit different, or you're like way more evolved, or your intuition's like way more online for the highest good. Is something I'm getting as well. So just keep that in mind. Kind of a weird message, but whatever. Kind of a weird journey to go on to get to that message as well, but here we are. We're fine. They showed me a coral reef next, and it's like the healing of a coral reef. So what's up with that here? I feel like there are things you think are unhealable that are not unhealable within yourself, and you need to give yourself a chance like to heal them, whether it's about relationships or love, Or maybe some of you think you're like permanently damaged emotionally, but it's far from the truth. You just have to like try. So I would give yourself a chance in healing is something I'm getting, whether it's love and romance or work or anything like that. And they're showing like someone who's kind of like Ebenezer Scrooge or like bah humbug and like this who like just turns into someone who's really warm and loving. I guess that did happen, didn't it, in that story? So I guess that's a good example. I don't know. They were showing like a cranky old person who like in a year becomes someone really loving or like overnight or something. I feel like that's you. I'm not saying you're cranky and curmudgeonly and brutal to the people around you, and hopefully you're not, but some type of transformation for the highest good, like that. So the next message for you guys here, they're showing me rain here, and it's blessed rain is something. They're giving me the words blessed rain, and it's kind of raining into this pond or this like lake here, and it's raising the water levels. And as it raises the water levels, it changes the ecosystem, because maybe it goes from like a farmland to swampland or something like that. And they're just saying like you need to trust the changing landscape in your life, because there's a divine plan in action. And where like one area might get like really swampy and like change, and maybe there's like another area that like opens up with like opportunity and like life that you need to go instead. If the farmland gets swamped or something like that. So there's also like a lot of transformation to the landscape around you right now, or will be soon, and you just really have to trust it is something I'm getting. Like it's all leading you to your purpose, it's divinely guided, it's for your highest good, it's safe. It's banishing all the negative things you need to get rid of. So anything else besides just trust it, or anything else that would help you regarding that for the highest good? I would just know your life is going to be changing in really big ways over the next year. I feel like it's part of your design for this time period, and it's like part of the transformation you signed up for. And it's going to change a lot about your life, but I feel like you'll be happy, and just be very accepting of the changes that happen, and know there's like a divine plan or a greater plan. Maybe there's a greater change to it as well for like the world or for you, but a greater plan to it as well. I also feel like this came to for the earth signs, but there's like a stars aligning for you in some ways regarding this change. I don't feel like you guys, maybe you're going to have to take this as it resonates. Like if you have like an earth and water placement or something, like you guys might not have to do anything, but like let it happen, or just wait for the time you're called forward. Kind of like a doctor's office. You sit in the waiting room, you go on, you register, you let them know you're here. Then you wait for your time to be called into the office. That might be part of a time period you've been in, but it's like you're about to be called into the office in a good way. This is positive, of course. So things are about to transform in your favor, which is really good. But the stars are about to align for you in a positive way and like connect. And it kind of, they're showing me another analogy of like, was it the Bering Straits? I am not remembering my geology, but there was this one strait of land, and I think it was between like Russia and Alaska, and what is now today known as Russia and Alaska. And it was like 10 or 15,000 years ago, or a long time ago, like the sea levels were really like low because of the ice age or whatever. So you had this like bridge of lands between, Alaska and what is today known as Russia. And so that was allegedly how North America was settled by indigenous peoples. And it's kind of like, they also showed this other example of like, there's like all these shows or movies where it's like on this night of this moon or this solstice, this path will line up, or this like thing will happen to show you the way and open this door to this passageway that's inaccessible all other times of X amount of time. And it's kind of like, maybe it's even an opportunity that's like that, where it's like, because they're showing this weird geometric thing where it's like a path, but it doesn't line up. Like these two parts of the path don't line up, except like maybe in dire circumstances. I don't know about dire, but in certain like time periods, or like the stars align and like the path lines up, and you have this like maybe even like I don't want to stick you with like having a limited time to do it, but maybe a limited time to like cross this path and like have this out of this, do this thing. And maybe you'll get other opportunities. You just have to wait for the path to come back along and like line up again. It's like these two like geometries that are like spinning, and every so often like the path like lines up and you can walk across. It's like you're getting this opportunity to move forward, or like something like that, where you get to have success or like do something, and just like take that opportunity is what I'm getting as it shows up, and you will thank yourself. So if you get, I don't know if it will present as a rare opportunity, maybe it will, but I feel like you'll know what this is and you'll move forward on it and just like trust it is something I'm getting. And like, invite it in. If you're not sure what this is, like invite it in, like it's going to come in. And I just feel like you need to take this rare opportunity when it presents itself, and you'll thank yourself. I feel like you'd rather not wait for the next time these paths line up. Like it might even be like a year. So if you get a rare opportunity, take it is what I'd say. And you'll know you're not going to miss it. None of you will miss it. So what else would be highest for us to get to here? I feel like you're going to be urged along this path very strongly by the divine, by your intuition, by life circumstances. So I feel like it's impossible to avoid. You just have to have the courage to take the step is something I'm getting. Next message. So the first thing they're showing me a shipwreck next here. There's an octopus. There's a starfish on the shipwreck. I know the water signs, they love all sometimes they use a lot of like water analogies like ocean and all that stuff. But with the shipwreck here, I feel like I've said this to you before, but I feel like there's a lot of treasure being unearthed in you right now, like a lot of intuition, a lot of knowing, even like a lot of things you thought were lost from you, like maybe even like childhood joy and things like that. Like now is like the time to unearth that and bring that forward more, or it's like it's going to happen. But it's kind of like finding buried treasure that's been like lost for eons, or unearthing treasure or finding treasure in a shipwreck, and bringing it to the surface and like being rich. I feel like you have an opportunity to unearth a lot of like good things and bring them into your life again is something I'm getting. And for some reason, like childhood joy is like something they're highlighting for at least some of you. So they did give a message of peace and like just a suggestion to invite in peace. Like that is like the main frequency to invite in right now. So maybe every day you'd be like, okay, I invite for the highest good peace into my life. I invite peace into my life for the highest good. I feel like you'll be seeing things more clearly as you do. You'll be feeling a lot better. And sometimes we forget we can like invite in these frequencies and energies and like create them and generate them and live in them. And we think we're at the whim of world events and the energies of the collective, but guess what? You're a part of the collective. You have an impact. Your voice matters, and you generating peace matters, and you're not always at the whim of things. I hesitate to use the word control, but you have some control. You have your own potency, and you can create for your own life at the very least. So and be inviting in the frequencies you'd like to see, like every day, even whether it's journaling or you just kind of sit and like, okay, I have my coffee. I invite in peace. I invite in good luck. I invite in success. And just kind of try that. Try it on. See what happens. Along with what you already do. There was also just a suggestion to invite in wellness as well. So peace and wellness were like really what they said. So there are other like encouraging messages. This first, like, I know I went into like all the channeled intuitive channel messages I was getting like right away instead of like what came through ahead of time for starters. But the first like thing that showed up ahead of time was like this like interesting like mini speech where it was like or just like these really quick messages like invite in peace, like that is the main frequency to invite in. All is well, invite in wellness. They said they did kind of sneak in all is well for you guys as well. They said you are actually on the right road right now. And peace will come in, I feel like. And also like things are going to get easier for you. So again, kind of like the air signs, a lot more light in your life is something I'm getting. I'm getting a weird message, like a lot easier to be. And this is a weird message. Like sometimes being is uncomfortable because of what we are being through. Because we are being and maybe something uncomfortable is going on, in our life. And we're always being in our life because you are here. So you can't not be, if that makes sense. And I know there's like another form of like using that word where like taking time to just be and things like that. But for all intents and purposes, bear with me. They just did say things are going to get easier for you here, which is good. I feel like it'll be easier to be and easier to be you, which is a gift and a blessing, I would say. So the next thing that came through ahead of time, what else? There shouldn't be this medallion. I feel like you're being rewarded. Or maybe you've gone through a difficult passage, even if this was like way in the past and like you're finally being rewarded for it. Maybe the reward metaphorically got lost in the mail, or there were just some other things being worked out before you could receive it, if that makes sense. So I feel like you're getting a reward. because of that or for that, or like a medal of honor or something like that. Maybe literally for some of you, but I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it's vastly metaphorical. Next message, they showed me like an elephant. Oh, there's a medal on this one too. That's weird. I didn't read that ahead of time, but elephant, medal, and crown were the words they gave me. And they just said, you guys are being crowned with success and victory. Victory is on the way, especially regarding like work or something important in your personal life, or both, or all of the above. Some type of victory or big win, maybe big win. Big win just popped out of my mouth without me thinking. And a lot of the times, if not always, that's the message. But victory is on the way for you guys, which is good. Again, especially work, business, personal thing that's really important to you. Especially like, I feel like this is regarding abundance as well, but I don't know. That's what I'm hearing. It could be something slightly different too, or maybe something you don't initially construe as abundance, and construe of as abundance is something I'm hearing. I feel like it will be though. I feel like it'll help your abundance, but I don't want to limit it. I think there's a victory coming in for you. It's really the original message. Woo, okay. And the next message they'd like me to get to, they're showing me a sword here. Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords has a crown on it. Ace of Swords can represent a victory as well. I feel like it's coming in very quickly. And they're showing it like riding in on a horse is really interesting. And you know, there's the Six of Wands, which is another card of a victory. There's a dude on a horse, kind of number of ways to read it. Like sometimes he's riding in after a battle or after a war. He's victorious. It can also symbolize a public victory, like you're being put on, in a good way, put on display, or being given a medal and a public victory. Geez, with this analogy. Can't wait to see what shows up for you guys. I don't always get to hear about what shows up for you guys regarding these readings, but a lot of you reach out and tell me it's accurate, so which I appreciate. And I'm not trying to go doing that, by the way. I'm just trying to say I appreciate it. For those of you who do, no pressure. But they were kind of like, showed this victory riding in on like a horse, kind of like Knight of Swords maybe, which I don't know if I like that card, but I'm also like keep hearing this. Sorry, let me get the message, because I'm hearing all these different things. What's the message for you guys? What do you need to hear? Okay, I'm so sorry for the confusion, but there is a victory coming in for you pretty swiftly, or swiftly and over time, and maybe it's something you build, and that's kind of what you need to hear. But I feel like it's coming in quickly. So the next message here, they did show me a giraffe, again, our friend giraffe, and it was, it's about a long road this time. So, and for what, okay, never mind. If you are willing to face long roads and walk them, you will have great success. So kind of tied in with the message, kind of separate. We kind of talked about it in like an earlier reading, but if you're willing to walk a long road right now and go on a journey, whether it's with a business or maybe it's like a health journey and it's like about getting in shape, which I know that can really seem like a daunting or long journey when you're out of shape, but if you're willing to go on the long journey, like you get there, like you have it, you know, or building a business, whatever it is. If you're willing to like face the long roads and walk them, you will have great success. So be open to that right now and be open to the opportunities that might take a little bit of work to get to. I feel like they are worthwhile. And I feel like we're all just being, and for the highest good, positively seeded with dreams or like new dreams or even like new realities that are starting to birth that lead us to dreams or new dreams. And I feel like we need to honor them and like move towards them. And if it seems far-fetched, maybe ask yourself, like, what if this is actually possible? Is like, because the phrase I heard is like, what if this is actually possible? And ask the universe to help bring it in, because like so much more is possible than we realize, and we just need to ask and like move towards it and allow the possibilities to be there and maybe acknowledge them, and they will be. So a lot of opportunities and possibilities opening wide for success if you will have it. That's kind of it. They have just been loving this end the readings on Grasshopper today, haven't they? This might be a little bit different here because they're showing me and highlighting the head of the grasshopper. They're highlighting how every part of the grasshopper is important, not just the jumpy and the flying parts. It's like, yes, grasshoppers are known for their jumping, and like that's what comes through when people talk about grasshoppers and spirit animals and things like that. However, the grasshopper needs all of itself. And they're kind of talking about how every part of your life is important. The good, the bad, the ugly, the great, the beautiful. And I feel like the message for you now is like give thanks for it, even if it like was something you didn't really like, and it will transform. Um, Even if you have to do something like thank you for the good this is bringing me, or something like that, or thank you for the good this will lead to, or universe, I'm not sure what you're doing, but thank you for the good that will come with this, or something like that. And I feel like what I'm hearing, the universe is like, oh, you're paying attention, is like what I hear the universe say in response. And then it helps you see ways out of certain situations, or ways to improve things, or ways to get better, or opens possibilities more for you, is something I'm getting. So kind of a weird message, and definitely not always like a comfortable thing to hear, because I'll tell you a story. Some of you already heard this, but gather around, children. Even though some of you are probably like more than twice my age, which is not a bad thing, by the way. Gather around, friends. Might be a better way to say it. And I don't know if you guys, I used to, okay, I'm going to get to the point. But there was one time where I was watching a thing by Lee Harris, trying to give credit where credit's due. And it was, I think it was I don't know. He was doing this thing, and like, he was kind of leading this like meditation, or this gratitude meditation thing. And he was kind of like just giving some prompts for like, okay, what are you grateful for today? What are you grateful for from your life overall? And then he's like, okay, so we're just going to go through some like more guided things. He's like, okay, if you haven't already, maybe say like, you're grateful for your life, you're grateful for yourself. And like one of the things he said, and I'm paraphrasing, was something along the lines of, and he might've been channeling this, like, it was like, I am grateful for all of my past, or all of my past events. And like at the time period, there were definitely some things of late that like still like they just, to me, I would say they sucked. You know, it was just like really brutal. And I was just like, I don't want to say thank you for that. And my guides were like, say it. So I'm like, okay, I'll say it. So I said like, okay, I am grateful for all of the events of my life, and like what got me here today. And that included like the crappy ones. And maybe there was something that was more specific about that. And it was very interesting, because like what happened was that energy of gratitude, after I said it, like infused itself into like that situation energetically, or to me now, or something happened where I just felt that situation like energetically like shifts. And like I felt, I don't know, I'm not going to try and like pigeonhole it, but something shifted, and all of a sudden like I was more grateful for it. And I just felt like more like more calm about it, more released, more healed about it. Something shifted for the better. And like I just felt less beholden, and less like it sucked, and less like life sucked, or something like that. And I'm not saying this perfectly, but you get the gist. Sometimes that can help transform things. I'm not trying to get you to go around and say like, oh, thank you for this crappy thing, universe, like all the time. Like I get it. And I think sometimes we're going to talk about this as well. We get sucked into this thing, like certain spiritual gurus or teachers said, like, oh, when you are thankful for your blessings, they multiply. And so maybe sometimes it, like, at least for me, or maybe for some of you, like at least earlier in my journey, like something would happen where like, oh, does that mean if I'm thankful for my crappy things, the crappy things multiply? It's like, what they're saying is like, no, it actually heals it, or can heal that, or like bring it to better. So I feel like gratitude is actually more of a healer, is what I'm getting. And it can, one thing I've heard, and one thing I'm being guided to say right now, is it can lay a foundation for unconditional love and joy, and like higher frequencies. So perhaps that's a tool you can use to turn things around, or help right now, even regarding some of the crappy things. I don't think I said it all right. I'm so sorry. What would be highest for me to say regarding that, or in general? They're just saying like, gratitude is the key. So remember that. I'm not sure why I went through all that story, but I hope that helped some of you in some way. I feel like clarity is a theme today, but there's a lot of clarity coming in for you. Like diamond clarity is something they're saying, like, very clear, zero like things in the way, or what do they call them? If there's like, something in the diamond, like impurities, or, artifacts is something I keep wanting to say, but I don't know if that's the right word. I feel like that's something else. I don't know. I just feel like you're gonna have a lot of like diamond clarity, like crystal clear or better, for your life, which is good. I'm going to close the reading there. I hope that was helpful. I feel like you're not stuck, and if you feel stuck, you're getting unstuck is something they're saying as well. I have like this poster over here. It's not really mine, but it's here in the room, and it has all these like crystals, and it's like in Spanish. And there's one thing with like amber and like bugs in it, and they really pointed my eyes to it. And that was the message I was getting as they did that. I was like, you're not stuck. And you're getting unstuck if you are stuck. Because, bugs trapped in Angler, they're kind of stuck, but you're not. I feel like you're being pulled out of that. That's it. I hope that was helpful and did whatever was for the highest good for it to do for you. And we're going to move on to the full channel mode message. So probably like a 10, 15, 20 or however long, just full channel mode message on, I feel like we talk about upshifting a lot, but I'm hearing the word upshift. Maybe we're just going to be releasing some of the muck or some of the things that are slowing our progress with it, but we'll see what they want to channel through as well. I'm going to take a quick second just to drink water. Okay. Thanks, Destiny. I drank the water. Okay, so I'm going to put the sign up. So, of course, for anyone new, I channel my spirit guides, the angels and sources, what I say. If you need a name for my spirit guides, they gave themselves the name the Angelic Collective of Zorbital. Truth is, as far as what I'm being able to say, I channel source my spirit guides in the angels. If spirit animals want to jump in, that's fine. Your spirit guides may jump through if it's for the highest good and it's the vibration you and everyone needs. It's really just a divinely guided experience. And a couple of things to take away from this is, one, there is like the verbal message that happens with them speaking through. That's important, or can be. Two is the energetic transmission, like the transmission from true highest and infinite source that happens along with channeling. That can be like a healing session, or it can move energies or do energy work for the highest good, or energy healing, or something else entirely that's for the highest good. And it can also open your intuition. It can do really interesting things. And oftentimes that transmission does have to do with the message and the verbal information. However, it can be unrelated depending on what the group needs. So I'm here to facilitate what's for the highest good. That's one of my intentions, of course, and that's what they're doing. And sometimes they talk about blossoming. I feel like this might have to do with you blossoming and just maybe some of the energies we'll encounter as well. And it could be like a preparation for flourishing in these times, no matter how brief the message is. So get ready for the transmission. I'm going to give myself like 2 seconds to sit. And usually what happens is I'll sit for a second and then I'll start coughing maybe, and then they'll laugh usually, and then they'll start talking, and you'll know when it happens. And many of you are familiar with this and you don't need me to go through my spiel, but here we are. We are spieling away. So give me 1 second here. Excuse me. I have like a sleepy in my eye. Okay. Welcome to this channeled message for today, for now, for your now experience. And of course, these messages are for you when you see them. They have an energetic resonance and encodement from source that can be timeless, or from whatever time you need to spark the right things in you, spark the right healing, spark the right ideas, or just provide and facilitate the right energies that will transform you in just the right ways for you to carry into your life to help you and others. So there's a bit of a cascading effect that happens with these messages or work you do. If you do intuitive work or do readings for others, you are providing a much bigger service than just servicing one person with the work you do. You are servicing the collective. You are servicing your soul and the souls of others, and bringing more light to life and this world if you are doing work for yourself or if you are doing work for others. So please do not discount the work you do, even if it is for a friend, a lover, a coworker, for one person instead of tens of thousands, for 100 people instead of millions. You are doing the right work at the right scale for you, and it will grow if it is meant to. And you are servicing so much more than just one person by bringing light to one person's life. There is a cascade effect to all the work you do that butterflies out, like the butterfly effect, to create hurricanes of healing, to use that metaphor of the butterfly effect, where perhaps there would have only been a gentle breeze or stagnation. Suddenly there are storms of healing on the planet because of one word you said to a coworker, or one thing you said in a healing session or in a reading for one person. This is not meant to scare you. or to make you think your work sucks because you created the storm instead of the light and love you truly wished to create, because the end result may be that light and love. It is more to get you to wake up to the impact you have on this world as you go about your daily living and life. And this is, again, not to denigrate you or get you to beat up on yourself. If you are not living in the frequencies you would like to in your everyday life, it is more to help you realize you are having a cascade effect. And you affect more than just you. So many of you are aware of that. So your healing impacts the all. So many of you beat up on yourselves because you are not healed enough. You are not in a good enough place. But you are for you. And your healing from where you are at and moving forward from where you are at moves the whole collective forward, whether you think it does or not. Energetically, it is sparking awake the collective. It is sparking healing in the collective. It is opening the door of opportunity for the highest good of all others to also walk through that door. Whether you are just starting out on your spiritual journey or you are well along and far along, and you will have different roles. It will physically look different, perhaps, for each of you. Much different than you would expect, even if you have similar impacts you're having on the collective, based on the roles you are meant to undertake and the ways the earth needs things to physically birth to bring through the right energies for each of you. So do not beat up on yourself or judge your role currently. It will transform. And even if you are just starting, you are having a great impact on the collective, just waking up as you are. Just waking up out of the stupor as you are. Not that you are stupid, not that you were. None of you are stupid per se. We know that word that judgment likes to fly around. It is just a word that humans made up based on a human judgment. And sometimes we may deliver that message to someone, such as Brandon here, to get them to wake up, to get them to stop and listen. But it does not mean they are actually stupid. It is part of a plan. No one here is stupid. They just are where they are at. So if you have that story about yourself, you can let go of that. You are just in the lesson phase that you are in. There is no stupidity. Why are we talking about all of this? The stupidity, the cascade, the judgments. We are trying to get you to let go just a little bit in your energy fields so you can invite in the new. So many of you have judgments of wrongness about your path, about what you bring to the world, how that reading went, how that talk with your partner went. But you are actually healing something really deep sometimes with that conversation. Even if it doesn't go as well as you hoped, it might be healing something really deep that has a butterfly effect that affects the whole world. It might be healing something in you that you need healed. It might be setting you up for a great, prosperous 5 years ahead. We're working this one thing out of your energies, out of your systems. Really changes everything for the better. Even if it sucks right now, to use that phrase, to use that word. From a human perspective. So what cascade effect are you having, even as you are right now, through your growth, through your healing? And this is not to put pressure on you. It's to lighten you up. It's to remove that layer of heaviness that keeps you from moving forward. That is what we do sometimes with this. We're removing that density. We are giving you buoyancy above the density. And you are yourself by showing up. Your soul is complicit in these energies, in these messages, in these effects. You are complicit in this effect. Perhaps in some ways we are providing a life raft in a sea of muck that otherwise certain ones of you might drown in. And this is not to say we are the only ones who can do this, or that we are absolutely necessary for your spiritual growth and development. We are here to be of service, but we are not going to say you need us. That would be disempowering. But perhaps we are providing a life raft energetically that you can climb up in out of the muck and float to shore and not be so stuck. And density is leaving this collective. And by this collective, we mean this group. You, this one in the chair. Density needs to go. Negative density. Part of the reason things have been difficult this past year for many on the planet, and if they have been difficult for you, is to remove density. Remove density around your hearts. Remove density around your mind. Remove density around your energies. So you can be the buoyant energy you be, to be the life raft for others, or to be the example of what a life raft looks like, so others can follow that example. Until there is so much buoyancy in the collective, the muck just disappears altogether. The density vanishes, which is the trajectory you are on. Maybe not in your lifetime, though we will not limit it. Many possibilities are open. That is the trajectory you are on. So what can you create with your life right now? That would be a buoyancy for others and yourself that would save you from any muck, that would lead you to shore, and the correct shore, the shore that would be for your highest good, if we have to dig deeper into this metaphor, for your comfort. And we're not here to make you uncomfortable, by the way. We're here to provide the healing we're meant to provide, and then we leave for a time. Not necessarily leave Brandon, we're still guiding him, but through these messages. You are all being called to be a life raft for others. And again, we would like to clarify, this does not mean you need to drown for others, or try to hold so many on your boat that you capsize. This does not mean take other people's energies on to remove the density from them. The density needs to leave altogether, not be taken on, not shuffled around. It needs to leave. So be the buoyant life raft. And is there a way you can move towards this more consciously? Aside from, for the highest good, imbibing the channel transmission with this message? Yes. What brings you peace and calm? Do that. What settles your nerves in a healthy way? Try to do that. Because the more you are bringing peace and calm to your life, again, you become an example. You become one who shifts the collective for the positive, which is inevitable, by the way. The collective cannot go backwards. It is on this destiny track to positivity, if you will. That does not mean everyone on the planet will be positive and jumping for joy and in rainbows and butterflies 24/7 all the time. It just means there's a great shift in the collective towards that, as we've been talking about. And what else would we like to talk about today? Let's look at the butterfly. Let's go further in that symbology. What if there were a stage beyond butterfly? What if the caterpillar had gone as far as it initially could in turning into a butterfly? But what if the next stage opens up and the butterfly could go further? A lot of the limiters, if you will, that have been on the collective are leaving. That is what we mean by density in some ways. A lot of the things that held you in a current state that may have been lower than you have liked. A lot of the things that keep a butterfly instead of something greater are leaving. And take that as a metaphor, of course. There's a new stage for humanity that is opening up. A higher evolutionary process, a higher evolution. And that is what the new human is stepping into. That is what humanity is moving towards, as messy as it might be. And perhaps there is a stage between butterfly and new butterfly, what the butterfly is becoming that's greater, expanded, more connected in, more spiritual, more whatever it is meant to be. That is akin to the caterpillar turning into the butterfly. That is a little bit messy. That is a little bit like dissolving into goo. Perhaps it can be cleaner. We will not limit it. But are you willing to go through the mess to get to the good stuff? In your life and in your transformation. In who you are becoming. Are you willing to let go of the comfortability of the same old, same old? At least enough to let this process begin at whatever pace you are ready for. And you can say yes, you can say no, you can intuitively get an answer. It doesn't matter because it will start at the right time. When you are ready. We do not have much more we wish to talk about with this message. But we will start with the depiction of an obelisk. A lot of the things that have been solid on Earth are crumbling. Old traditions, old ways of doing things. And the things that used to stand for something are gone. For instance, the obelisks that metaphorically used to stand for torture are leaving. The things that used to anchor in suffering are leaving. And no one needs to suffer on this planet. That is something that is leaving. And it does not have to run through your system to leave. If you find yourself suffering, that is a great thing to dig into and ask about. Ask what it will take to step out of it or for it to leave. Sometimes there are certain things you have to go to. We understand. We see it. But what if the suffering is optional going forward? What if there's a way to step out of it? And if you don't see it now, what if there's a way to create it? What if there's a way to create your life in a way that is more how you would like to see it? Which is really what a lot of this is about, right? What would your soul like to see? What would your heart like to see? What do you truly desire? Sometimes it's messy to get there, sometimes it's not. But the more you are opening to possibilities where suffering does not need to exist, where some of these lower things do not need to exist, the more you will open up the higher possibilities where they don't exist. The more you will create the earth where they don't exist. The more you will have the possibility to create the life they don't exist. And if they show up, don't judge yourself. Don't beat up on yourself. Ask what it will take to change it. Ask why you're going through it. Ask what it's leading you to. Ask. Ask questions. Ask questions of the universe to manifest. That can be a great way to set an intention, by the way. Ask and you will receive. I ask for angelic light to surround me. I ask to be divinely protected today. You can set an intention with each ask. And you can play with that and experiment with it. You do not have to buy it as truth right away. See how it works for you. See what shows up. See what shifts in your world. Take it, experiment, see what works. And if it works for you, keep using it. And that is all we wish to leave you with today, aside from one message. Your solar plexus area, that chakra, that energy, is shifting for this collective. It is becoming more aligned with soul for many. And be patient with this process. Do not beat up on yourself if you find this is not the case for you right away or right now. But your desires are lining up with your soul desires, and that will change things. That will change the collective. Because then you will be taking action towards your soul desires, and that will change things. And that is the upgrade your solar plexuses are going through with this message and in general. We are not necessarily creating that. You or someone on the planet asked for it. Many of you. Unbeknownst to some of you. But now is the time to create soul desires on the planet, and now is when they birth. Now and forever. For however long the earth is here. And you've got a ways, humanity. Some of you would think, Earth will be extinct in 100 years. Not so. Give yourselves a chance. Give yourselves a chance to change things. Give Spirit a chance to come in and intervene. It is not just you in this world that has an impact, though you are an important piece, an important part of the puzzle. Otherwise, we would not be here. We would not be here channeling through Brandon, delivering this message. So we wish you well. We wish you all the best for you. We wish the highest and best for each of your lives. And may the highest and best transpire. The transmission is complete. Go now and live your life to the best of your ability. Signing out for now. Sayonara. Okay. Yeah, sorry, like the cat started going a little crazy over there. Sometimes that's my sign to wrap it up. Sometimes not, but you're welcome. Thank you, Brandon. I look forward to this every Sunday. You are welcome, Tanya CB. You're so welcome. I'm so glad to hear it. How do I feel? I feel good. Maybe a little out of it. Kind of like I don't know if coming down is the right word, but I don't want to say it's literally like this, but it's kind of like leaving a dream space and coming back to reality, but different. Because it's not like I'm leaving reality, or am I leaving reality? I'd have to say what the technicalities on that one, but it's almost like I'm coming back from a dream, but I don't know if it's really a dream, you know? I needed that. Awesome. I'm so glad I got to you. You're welcome, Patty. You're welcome, Heart Heal. Thank you, Heart Heal. I'm so sorry. Thank you for letting me know. This message hit my heart space. Super emotional for some reason. You're so welcome. I'm glad it had an impact that was for the highest good. That means a lot. I am Sanjay Kali. Thank you. And you're welcome. I bought your book for my granddaughter for her birthday. Oh, wow. I hope it does whatever is for the highest good for her and helps her in the highest and best ways. Authentic Mystic says, yeah, crying too. Of course, I hope it's a good cry. I am honored it's having an impact is what I'll say. Oh, that means so much, Leo Diaz. That means so much. Thank you. It was my first time here today. Amazing. Thank you so much, Kay Farina. Thanks so much for joining in today. It means a lot that new people are still showing up here. And they will, I'm hearing, but I really appreciate it. Whew, so much releasing lately. Heard. They're like, heard. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I need to close the live soon. Sometimes I'll go into like extra things like energy, like Reiki infused guitar or like a Reiki session. I'm getting out to do that today. I didn't sleep as well as I would have liked last night, so I'm trying to give myself a break, and it's just what they're guiding me to do. I guess I'll just self-promote a little bit. I always feel weird doing it, But, you heard people in the comments talking about a book. I do have, it's Spirit Guides, Angels, and Speaking with Source. It is on Amazon or in my Linktree. So if you're interested, you can check it out. No pressure. If it doesn't feel right to you, no worries. But a lot of that book is, they don't want me to say what I was about to say, but there's a lot of energetic transmissions in the book that could be good for you. I did my best to channel all of it. It's from a couple of years ago, but hopefully it's still helpful for you guys. Plug in your promotion. Do you have Reiki classes soon? Yes, I actually just scheduled Reiki 1 class for February, like towards the end of February. So that's available if anyone's interested. I also scheduled Reiki 2. I taught like a ton of Reiki 1 classes last year, and I didn't get as many Reiki 2 classes in. So there might be some people who learned Reiki 1 from me, and then maybe they ended up going to a different instructor just over the past year, which I totally understand. I was not very on the ball with the classes or the scheduling of them, but, and then anyone who's taken Reiki 1 or 2 with me, I think master level will be scheduled soon too, if I haven't scheduled it yet, but we'll see. And there's some other things coming too, which are really exciting, but, I'll wait till I have that actually scheduled. I do, if anyone's drawn to it, I also have a monthly membership thing I'm doing now, and it's, there's a couple different tiers you can choose into. It's not Patreon, it's on my own website, but I kind of structured it similar to Patreon. Like there's different tiers, and there's like monthly channel timeless picker readings, there's weekly channel timeless picker readings. There's monthly like full channel mode messages that are longer, like the one I just did, but they go from like anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour plus instead of like 15 minutes. And then I think there's, if you do like the gold tier, there's also a channel guided meditation added in. And I do typically do personal readings. I need to open some days up on my scheduler. And I will over the next couple months here. I just haven't gotten to opening more days yet. So I will get to that. And that's, oh, thanks, Andy Pandy Pie. It means so much that you love the membership and people are getting, my guys are like, well, of course they're getting good things of it. I'm like, I know, but I don't know. It just means a lot to hear that feedback. So thank you. Thank you so much, Andy Pandy Pie. I really, really appreciate the the testimonial. You just saying that, and I don't know. It means a lot. I know it's genuine too because you're just on here saying it. So thank you so much for just letting people know. It means a lot. Okay. Thanks, Leo Diaz. I love you guys too. It means a lot to be here, getting to do this. I am honored. I really appreciate the opportunity to get to channel for you and bring through these messages for you. And I, of course, always hope they helped and just did whatever is for the highest good and just brings about the highest and best for your life and leads to the highest and best outcomes and the lightest and brightest experiences for you and just does whatever is for the highest good. So, thank you, the authentic mystic. That means a lot to hear too, thank you, that you're, impacting people. You're impacting others who want to see change. Thank you. That means the world. Because I feel like to me, I don't know how much we need to get into it, but having an impact that's for the highest good is like important with the work I do. Otherwise, I don't think I'd do it. I don't think I'd do it at all, but you've changed our lives. That means so much. Thank you. That really means the world. Yeah. Thank you. It's inspiring. Thank you guys. That's very humbling and it means the world and exactly what I am trying to accomplish. So thank you so much for letting me know that and or better, but your voice is so relaxing. Thank you. I appreciate it. It would be very interesting if I did WrestleMania narrator readings. Pile drive. I don't know, but I don't think that's my niche. That's not me. Maybe someone else will do it. Who did you? Oh, thank you. That's your girl. You really are. Tipped your PayPal last week and have had incredible shifts from your channeling. Thank you, Heart Heal. That means a lot. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the tip. And again, never an obligation, but it does mean a lot when you guys do that. Wrestler announcer, reading, but with a positive spin. I think someone should do that. They're saying not me. Like it's not for me, but I'd watch that. Guidance through this is so helpful. Awesome. What are your thoughts on fasting? For me, what I get to say is to follow your intuition on it and see what works for you. I think what I get is like for some people it's really great. For others, they need food, and like everyone's bodies can be different. So that's just what I'm hearing. If it's working for you and getting the results you would like perfect. I'd also just say don't force something that isn't working if you find it's not working. So I know that's kind of maybe a general answer, but that's what I'm getting to say. I don't have a lot of personal experience this lifetime with fasting. I have heard a lot of good things in different research I've seen, but that's something I'd say on that. So I would say try it and see what happens. And I would also make sure you do your research and do it right is something I'm hearing. Quesadilla asks, that's a great username. I get it. Sorry. How can I get a reading? So normally I'd say through my website. I need to open more days for just more slots on my website, on my scheduler for readings to be scheduled, but I'll do that soon. And if you go to my website or the Linktree in my bio, that's the way to book with me. And oh, by the way, you probably don't need to hear it, but if anyone ever reaches out and their profile looks like mine and messages you and oh, give me a donation for a reading, not me. I don't reach out to people like that. I don't. And usually the wording they'll be oh, I felt called to your energy. Would you give me a donation for a reading? And usually they'll call people babe or something too. So I don't usually call random people babe. It's not part of the brand, but for real, that's just not what I'm guided to say to people when so that's what I'd say here. Oh, that's awesome. How is your guitar playing? I saw you playing, inspired me to buy a bass. So fun. That's freaking awesome. I hope you enjoy the heck out of it and just get the most out of playing bass. Bass can be really fun. Guitar playing is going well. I have been I feel like there's been okay, I was going to talk about something. They're no, you need to wrap it up here, but it's been good. I've been enjoying it more. I've been practicing it more. I feel like I've been switching my style a little bit, to be more acoustic or more clean playing, compared to what I used to do, but I've been really enjoying what's been coming through and how it's been turning out lately. Oh no, don't be sorry. Do not be sorry. It is not you did nothing wrong at all. It was not you. That was me, because they've been telling me to wrap it up and end the live soon, and I have not been. I keep getting wrapped up in chat with you guys here. But they keep saying to get into it. So I'll get into this and then we'll probably make an album. It's on the list. We will see when or how I get to it, but I would really, really love that. It's been a target I've had for a while. Because I used to be in bands, and there are certain albums I have been a part of that I put out that they're not bad. It's just not, I guess it's not overall what I would like my legacy to be in music. I feel like I can do, there's better I would like to put out for me personally, I guess you could say, or just my own songwriting instead of someone else's might be a better way to say it. And I've gotten so close to releasing albums in the past where I'd write a whole album and then I just didn't do it. And I did that twice. I've written multiple albums of songs, and then something would change in my life, or I'd change, or I think for me too, it was part of me overcoming my not putting things out phase. And just one of the lessons or awarenesses I gained is like, it's so worth it to put things out and just follow through on things and like finish things. And because like I could have done the follow through and like finish those albums and put them out and just like had that out there, had that in my repertoire, or just I did it, and if I could give any advice, and this is more from you and me than maybe channel, I would follow through on like creativity, arts, music, whatever it is. If you want to write something, just do it like all the way. Just do it as well as you can all the way. Because like what the things I look back and regret, this is gonna sound so cheesy. The things I look back and regret are the things I didn't do. Like the businesses I went so far with and then stopped. And like, yes, I got so many like things I learned and good things that help me now. But at the same time, it's just like, it was like right there. And we just, like, I don't know. That could have been a successful business. That could have been a successful album, or at least just really cool to have created. Your soul and energy feels so peaceful and safe to me. Feels so familiar. Same with Lee Harris. That is a huge compliment. And thank you so much, DHDHD Mama G, if I'm reading that right. I couldn't figure out why I resonated with you so fully until you brought up Lee. I love Lee and his work personally. You're right. It's not too late for Jade. And I think that is the other side of that. Thank you for saying that and reminding me that because you're right. I could take that music and finish it off and make the albums, or I could just take that and write new music. I'm not dead yet. There's still time. Okay, so there was one. What would be best for me to get to now? There was someone who was asking about growing their intuition. I'm so sorry, guys. What would be best for me to get to next? I want to answer what Leo Diaz is asking here and then get into that. How do you ask for help, answers, guidance without offering the universe a vibe for lack of those? And the answer I hear first and foremost is by being brave and trusting that you won't offer that vibe by asking for those things. I think it's an interesting balance. So what would be highest semester bring through for you and just for everyone here about this topic? Fully, if that is good. I think there are some things that people, I have to be like a little careful with this message, think is offering up a vibe of lack that's actually not. It could actually just be desire, and there's nothing wrong with desire. It could be leading you to your next steps. I feel like lack could be like a place of like, I never have it. I never have it. I never have it. I never have this. But I feel like asking is like opening the door to have it, if that makes sense. So what else do we need to say here? I think the other thing I'll say is like experimenting with it for yourself and seeing how it works and how you work could be helpful, because it's tempting to take all these different things, all these different manifestation coaches or gurus talk about and like mishmash them together, and like you get these like really, I don't want to say conflicting results, but weird beliefs. And I'm not saying this is you, but in general, like weird beliefs that result from it, where it's just like some people are like, oh, ask for the money, ask for this and that, and other people are like, no, asking for more means you're in lack, and then it gets like really confusing. So I would like try different things and see what really gets the best results for you and what feels, or maybe we could just feel into it energetically, like be like, okay, how would it go for me if I approach it this way and tried it this way? And how does that feel energetically? Does it feel light and free and like you get a smile on your face? Does it feel heavy to you as you feel into it, or ask to feel that energy of what it would be like? And like there's like ways you can kind of feel how it's going to be like as you like consider each option, if that makes sense, or a combination of them. I'm just getting, you're not going to give out lack though for asking for things. And I hesitate to even like get too far into this, because I feel like let's see if I think sometimes, sorry, what would they like to say here? They're just like, you know what, you're just not, try asking and see what happens. Asking for something and acknowledging that you would like something doesn't mean you're like, oh, I'm in want and I'm in lack and I don't have this thing, if that makes sense. Is my take on it. And I think personally, just in my experience, like for me, it's like asking you will receive, like I ask and it shows up. Unless it's not for the highest good, and then in that case, something that is for the highest good will show up instead. I feel like the energy of like lack or like want, it can be more like maybe it's more like a mindset, or like it's so tough to describe this, because I just feel like there are certain things that are, if you listen to people, it sounds like it's So sorry. There's certain things people say that make it seem like desiring anything is like lack, but it's not. It's very natural. And there's I'm so sorry. I think I'm just gonna have to. Hopefully, what I said helped. I feel like you're only in lack if you're like, oh, I need it, I need it, I need it. I don't have. I want. I don't have. Why does this always happen to me? Things like that. And even then, I hesitate to say it because I don't want to have you think you're in lack when you're not. If that makes sense. I don't know. Super helpful. Thank you. You're welcome. So someone was asking about growing their intuition. And one of the maybe unsexy answers is to practice all the time. Like take time each day to practice. Whether it's just channeling for yourself and like Lee Harris has an activity that he puts out there pretty frequently where like you just take out a notebook or it's on your computer and you just write, okay, what would my soul like to tell me? Or you can change like, what would my spirit guide like to tell me? And just like see if you get a message and like you just kind of sit, like, do you hear something? And if you hear something, just like write down what you hear. And one thing he said that I really liked is like when you're doing that, you are practicing getting in the frequency of receiving messages. So even if you're newer, like some people just start off, they get the information, perfect, they're good to go. Some people struggle with it a bit more. That's okay. You can be shifting beliefs out of the way. You're just acclimating to that frequency. They're like that, acclimating to the frequency. Just keep showing up, keep trying it. I would commit to like keep trying it every day for a while and just like, do you start to hear sentences? And even if you don't get like the secrets of the universe spilled out onto the page in front of you, it's like, do you hear like, oh yeah, you are loved and you're a great person and things like that. And one thing that Lee would say, and I'm just trying to give credit where credit's due, and I just think this is helpful information, is like, even if you're, and I've seen this actually happen with people too, now that I think about it, in like readings when people would ask about this, it's like when you're hearing that positive or like loving voice or that loving information, it's like, okay, is that different than your normal thought process toward yourself or how you normally speak to yourself throughout the day? Because if it is, it's like what he would say, or he does say, is like you're being calibrated to love into that higher frequency. And then as you keep getting calibrated, as you get honed in, as you keep practicing and getting that frequency more, like then you'll get more information over time as you get practiced in. And I think some people want to have like the intuition, the channel messages like tomorrow, and some people maybe they can, whether they've have had that like practice in a past life and they're bringing that to this lifetime, or they're just ready for it. Others, maybe it takes more time to unlock and unfurl and shift beliefs out of the way and shift your frequency, but it can happen like over the course of like a year or two or more, and you'll see progress in that time. But I'd say like give yourself, if it's a struggle at first, give yourself time for these things to show up for you in the right ways. And from there, like getting that practice and personal experience is so important because it can show up in ways that are more unique or maybe even totally unique for you. And you'll start to see like, okay, do you get intuitive visuals? Like maybe you sit down a channel and, you're opening up that space. And you notice like as you go about your life, like you get a visual of something. Like you're thinking about like, oh, should I move houses? And then you show like, maybe they just give you the word soon and you're like, oh, that's weird. I never got that before. Or, maybe like you get a visual of the month February or something, like, oh, maybe in February, that's a good time to move or look into moving or something, so, you might, or maybe you hear it clairaudiently, or maybe you get like a feeling like energetically. And then like you kind of like, you're like, okay, this feels like the summer, like, and you get like a knowing with it. So there's a lot of different ways it can show up, and getting your practice with it gives you the experience to like know how you operate and how your intuition works. And you can just keep getting it honed in from there. The other thing I would talk about is energy work for expanding intuition, like Reiki, other modalities you're drawn to, and like the attunements that have to do with that can really open you up and just open up your latent gifts and uncover them and like align you and balance you and just bring you to who you're meant to be. And as you're working with, like, for instance, like Reiki, you're getting the attunements, it just really can expand that and help. So if you haven't done that, it doesn't have to be with me, just whatever you're called to or resonates for you, consider taking some type of energy work class or attunement, even if it's just for the personal healing you'll get out of it and like the opening to yourself and your gifts that will always occur. The other thing is when you're practicing doing energy work, one, you're moving that energy through you, you're opening things up. Two, like you're giving yourself an opportunity to further practice stepping into a place where you'll be intuitive. Like if you're doing Reiki shares or client, sessions for other people, or maybe like, someone else learning and you're like, okay, let's do an exchange and I'll do a session for you. You do a session for me. And you both get the opportunity to practice being intuitive for each other and getting messages during those sessions. So there's all these different things that open up as you do that, that I think are really helpful for opening up your intuition and expanding it, that you might consider. I think like a third thing I would say is like doing your best to live your life more intuitively. Like as you're practicing it and like holding the space to open it up, also try to like just certain choices in your life. Like, okay, should I go this way to work today? If you have multiple ways to work, this way to work today or this way to work today. And just like, do you get an answer? Do your guys just say like the usual? And you're like, okay, like, should I have coffee or tea this morning? Or what should I have for lunch today? Like, just see what you get and like practice with that. And like using it in your everyday life. And it can really help to hone that in over time as well, because you're practicing living intuitively and making that a way you operate. And when you're operating from intuition all the time, it's easy to be intuitive. And I guess that's a hint for some of you. The other thing I'd say is like, practicing like readings, even for yourself, or pulling like cards. What's the best thing to say? One thing I've heard is like, this kind of takes a little bit of understanding this person's framework to really get the message across, I think. But sometimes when you're working with like cards, like oracle cards or whatever you're drawn to, I've heard like Lee Harris say things like, oh, like you're opening up an intuitive field. And it can be like a kickstart to your intuition. It can be also when you have like physical tools, it can help you access what I've heard like another reader talk about is like your physical tools can help you access your energetic tools or your etheric tools. Anna Anthony, the person I gave a shout out to earlier, is who I heard this from. So like using a card deck could help you access perhaps an etheric tool for your intuition, and you get messages a certain way or something like that. Or just showing up with the cards and practicing with it is like your way of like moving the energies, starting to manifest your intuition by taking action and showing the universe like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm taking action, let's manifest my intuition, whether it shows up this way or channeling or some other way. And there's a lot of other ways you can hone in. Like there's different ways intuition can work, like we talked about, like energetic sensitivity and like feeling into things. Like I'm taking a totally different route, but another person I'll listen to sometimes, or did listen to a lot, would like be like Access Consciousness, like Dr. Dane here, and they tend to, what it seems to be, they'll talk about perceiving things energetically. I don't think they channel as much like Lee Harris, but they will like perceive things energetically. Like they'll feel certain things, like, and to them, like they have this kind of tool where it's like, is it light or heavy? And what's light to you energetically is true for you. What's heavy is a lie. And that can be another way to practice intuition that's completely different, or maybe very similar, and could really lean itself to all of it as well. Is like, how do you feel about things energetically? And like, if you have different choices to make, like, okay, what will it feel like if I make this choice? I'm going to get the energies from source of like what that will feel like, what will happen. So what will I feel like if I do that? Okay, I feel a little bit anxious and sad. What will it feel like if I do this instead? Oh, that feels happy, that feels free. I'm going to go this way. Is like another way you can access your intuition and your knowing, as the access consciousness people would call it. And all these things can really tie into each other. I'd find something that resonates with you and like practice it and get it honed in. And then from there, once you do that, you can really expand. So if you start with hearing clairaudient messages, you may also expand into receiving intuitive visuals as you hone it in. Or you can ask like, okay, this is really cool. I'd also like to get visuals along with my messages. Can I please get that? And like, you can just manifest it, see what shows up. And so you can kind of expand once you kind of get your training wheels off and like you kind of get a way it's working for you. You can expand and grow, and it will and evolve as you do, and you'll evolve as it evolves, if that makes sense. So I know a lot of that isn't a very like sexy way to like grow your intuition. I think, I like want to be balanced in the way I talk about it. And I want to also not limit it, because I don't want to limit you to like it taking like years for it to grow, because maybe it won't. But I also don't want to give the false impression for some of you that, oh, it should open up tomorrow no matter what, and if it doesn't, you're a failure. Like that's not really right either. And maybe there's like a space in between, because it's like, for me, when I first started learning and getting channel messages, did I get a channel message the first time I tried? Yes. Was I like automatically fully accurate, getting channel messages all the time? right after that. No, it took 6 months and I heard like a different perspective on it because my story is a little bit different with how I got into it. But as I got more examples of what it looked like, and I'm like, oh, this is a thing people do, and like I practiced it more over the years, it just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and grew until I was ready for it to, I guess, more fully open, if not fully open, if that makes sense. So don't give up after the first try, and give it time to develop too, and time for you to go through your process, because there'll be like stages of growth you'll go through until you're like at this consistent place with it. But I remember sometimes you have to put in the work, sometimes you don't, but experience is never a bad thing, is what I'd say regarding it as well. So hopefully that all makes sense and is helpful for anyone. What I was getting is a recommendation for Heart Heal, because you were asking if it can be lessened by source, your guides, if it is too much. What I would recommend, the recommendation I was hearing is like maybe ask for it to be more refined, or for you to be able to handle it in a way where it's not so overwhelming, and keep it at where it's at, or grow it in a more refined way. Can you ask that it's lessened? And it will be. I'm not getting no, but don't feel called to recommend it either. Like I feel like there's a different or better way that would be better. Okay, I'm going to close the live there. Maybe like one more thing we need to get to. Awesome, you guys are welcome. I am a medium, and all of this information is very accurate in my humble opinion. Well, I appreciate the verification. Thank you very much. Okay, I need to close the reading. There might be one more thing we need to get to. Is there like a question I need to answer that I missed, or is it coming in? You're so welcome, Andy Pandy Pie. So I hope that was helpful. And just, I know that's not like, again, crazy sexy information about that, but hopefully it's practical and helpful and actually helps you, is what I'd say. Okay, I'm going to close it, and I am wishing you all the absolute highest and best for you, and a beautiful day and week ahead. I will see you next week and talk to you soon. Okay, take care.